say I
What is up, fight fans? I think we're live, and I think you can hear me. And if you can't, you will eventually. But you're hearing Johnny Walker loud and clear around the world. Johnny Walker, number 12 at light heavyweight, won't be there for long. Going to be in the top 10. This is 4 knockouts in a row for Johnny Walker. 4 in a row for Johnny Walker. He drops Paul Craig. Paul Craig shoots in for the single leg takedown. Johnny Walker stays up on his feet. Craig has his leg up in the air like this. And Johnny Walker just starts pummeling him on the side of the head, drops him, and back-fisted, back-slapped, back-fisted, whatever you want to call it, in a row. And Johnny Walker ends up with a big victory over Paul Craig. And I don't know why I am fuzzy on the screen. My connection's supposed to be good. I think we're all right, guys. We're on YouTube, MMA Weekly's live coverage of UFC 283 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. I'm Jim Grease, and at Jim Grease _ at Cageside Grease on social media. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell. Make sure you follow. Make sure you like MMA Weekly. You know what it all is for you right here on MMA Weekly, the best MMA content in the world, the largest independently owned MMA website on God's green earth. And the UFC is back in Rio for the first time in 3 years tonight. And I don't know what's going on with my signal. I got to see if you guys can see me all right on YouTube, because I don't know what's going on. Make sure you guys are all right here. Been a while since we've been on. The UFC didn't do any fights for a while. First pay-per-view of the year. Lauren Murphy and Jessica Andrade next. The former champ Andrade. Murphy number 4 at flyweight. Andrade is number 6 at flyweight. The former strawweight champion. Been bouncing back and forth. Both of these girls have lost to Valentina Shevchenko and pretty much nobody else recently. So it's time for Lauren Murphy, who just beat Miesha Tate, following her loss to Valentina, to try to get back in the win column. And she hasn't been making any friends in Brazil, saying, I came here for 2 reasons, to do meth and beat up lesbians, and I'm out of meth. So that's her smack talk heading into that fight with Jessica Andrade tonight. And I'll tell you what, Jessica Andrade is a tough customer. She's got almost the same number of finishes as she does. She has almost the same number of finishes submission-wise as she does KO and TKO. And so that's a well-rounded fighter and a former champion. Last time the UFC was in Rio and in Brazil, period, for a pay-per-view, you might remember, was when she dumped Thug Rose on her head, picked her up and slammed her to win the strawweight title. And she lost it to Zhang Weili, lost again to Thug Rose, moved up, took down, I think it was Caitlin Chukagian. I think it was one of them, one of those top contenders, and then got a title fight against Valentina. And she beat Amanda Lemos in her last fight out. That standing choke against the cage. Meanwhile, for her opponent, Lauren Murphy, I mean, she didn't even, Lauren Murphy's story, right? Lauren Murphy didn't even start training MMA until she brought her kid. She never had an amateur fight. She just really was a natural and took to the sport. I had a fun time talking to her in Phoenix last year about all this. That's Lauren Murphy. So I'm excited for this fight. I really am. I mean, this could be, I think, a main event on a fight night. Maybe not right now with neither girl being in the top, 3 or 2, but I still think it could headline a fight night, this fight. And here it is, all the way down, the second fight out on a pay-per-view, and the UFC coming strong in Brazil this time. And I'll tell you, that's pretty amazing when I think about that, because, man, just unbelievable. The fans in Brazil, if you guys have never been, and yeah, my I don't know what's going on with my connection here, guys. I'm working on it. I'm doing the best I can. I'm not sure why. The internet should be. Let me see if I can pull this fight up on my phone and turn off my internet. Get this thing going for you. Let's just see where you guys are at tonight. Where are you at around the world? Roll call. Where are you joining us from? Got the chat going in here. Trying to get this thing right for you. Let's go. You're right, Flying High 21. Johnny Walker got it going, right? I mean, Shogun got, look, Shogun got what you thought would happen to Shogun tonight happened from Pateria. And, I picked Shogun in a parlay on MMABetClub.com, and I picked him straight up. But you know what? It is what it is, man. I got Johnny Walker, and I put him, and my parlay's toast now anyway. But when I think about what's going on in the career of Shogun Rua, I always am one to say, and I know Pateri is good, and the UFC didn't do Shogun any favors in his last fight, but to give him Pateri like that in Brazil, Shogun got the huge ovation from the fans. The fighters are showing him love all over social media. What an incredible career. The Pride Grand Prix winner. Look at who he fought in Pride. Look at who he fought in the UFC. The light heavyweight champ. You know who beat Shogun for the light heavyweight title of the UFC? I'll give you 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Anybody? John Jones. That began the first of the Bones eras at light heavyweight. And now with the announcement that John's coming back and he is going to take on Cyril Gane for the title. I mean, it is what it is with Francis. I mean, we saw that coming, right? And I still think Francis ends up back in the UFC in the long run. All right, so here we go. All right, so I already bought this here. I'm going to stop it here. Do I have another window open here? You guys see this? Live streaming at its finest right here. There we go. Yes, sir. I know the Brazilians are so excited to have the fight card there this weekend and be back there for the pay-per-views. It's such a huge part of the sport. Brazil is, I mean, such a huge place in the history of the sport. It's just, you wouldn't have mixed martial arts or martial arts for that matter without Brazil. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to watch the fights on my phone here and see if that helps my signal with this internet. I don't know what in the world is happening. My internet signal's pretty strong, and we got a pretty good audience that we're going to build here tonight. We're going to have a lot of fun looking at this fight. I mean, it's the UFC's kind of stalling right now, and I mean, we got some footage up there from T-Mobile Arena, but make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit bell so you know when we have more content. We ran in Rio this week, and hope you enjoyed that content as well. But you know something, guys? The UFC back in full effect. I mean, you notice this. They're still doing events at the Apex. I wonder how much longer that's going to last, right? But when I think about this and I think about the UFC moving forward in the future and where they're going to be and what they're going to be doing moving forward, I wonder how many more events there will be at the Apex, because the fight nights are starting to move. There's one coming up in San Antonio. There's one coming up at the Virgin Hotel in Las Vegas. And how about Jose Aldo? They just played a video package and they're showing him in the crowd. 2023 UFC Hall of Fame inductee into the modern era wing. They made the announcement right now in Brazil, as they should, with Jose Aldo. And while they're at it, they should make it for Machida. Oh, I don't know if anybody wants Hans Molenkamp there anymore, but he's sitting there with him. Monster Energy guy. I remember Dominic Cruz called him out, and he's been he was a lot more involved in the sport years ago, like a lot of people were, But Shogun Rua, man, he carried it through eras, and he carried it through Pride when Pride was king, and when the UFC fighters went over to Japan to fight in Pride. Remember Chuck went over there. It just is unbelievable, man. Just really cool. The career that Shogun Rua had, the fights against Dan Henderson, especially the first one of the greatest fights of all time in the UFC, and just really pumped to see someone who has been that much of a difference maker, an influencer, someone who's had that much of an impact on a sport. And Shogun has. This sport would not be what it was today without that era. It went from Chuck and Tito in the light heavyweight division, and then it transitioned into Rampage, Rashad, Machida, and Shogun. Machida and Shogun with those two fights back to back. The first one, Machida won. The second one, Shogun won to take the belt. Don't forget that, right? He beat Lyoto to win the belt, and Lyoto was just about unbeatable at that point in time. And who beat him? Shogun. He's got a legendary chin. I mean, just tremendous power. The Muay Thai fighter, the way he wore his trunks in there. I mean, just a throwback in every sense of the word. Shogun Rua. I love the dude. I can't mark out enough on Shogun. I'm sure a lot of you fans feel the same way about him, because he is a true legend in this sport. And I've loved his career and loved his fights. And, congratulations to Shogun on an epic career. Congratulations to Shogun on entertaining fans all over the world for decades, man. And like Rafael Cordero said, the shoot box team would never be the same. The sport would never be the same without Shogun. And who is a 7th degree black belt in shoot fighting? Glover Teixeira, right? And Vaitu. So think about this, right? Think about Shogun and think about what his career has meant to this sport. And we say goodbye, tip of the cap to Shogun Rua. His gloves in the Octagon. The Hall of Fame induction ceremony, of course, will be at International Fight Week in July. We'll be there as always with MMA Weekly. The UFC has announced their schedule for the first part of the year, and we knew this was going to happen. We got spoiled when everything was at the Apex for a long time, and we could just drive down the road and go cover it when we were both there, and Scott's there. But you know what? The UFC spreading its wings. They're in Rio. They're going to London. Next month, they're in Perth, Australia, all the way across the world. And Aldo's crying now, man. Look at this. This is he's got his coach with him, he's got his girl with him, and that's cool. Jose Aldo, the living legend, lost his last fight. So many of them do. So many of our great warriors, so many of our great icons, like Shogun did tonight, knocked out, TKO'd in the first round by Igor Poterya. And now you got Jessica Andrade and Lauren Murphy, and you have got some. Oh man, this is. I mean, when you think about this fight, right? This is just striker versus everything. I mean, Jessica Andrade is a jiu-jitsu girl, but she's a complete mixed martial artist. She is literally a complete mixed martial artist. A complete mixed martial artist. And that's what I really respect about her. And she's tough to beat, but Lauren Murphy can beat her. And Andrade at times can get a little bit reckless. And she could walk into one, and that's Murphy's big chance tonight. But she is ranked number 4. She's a complete mixed martial artist too. You don't know if it's going to be a submission, and you don't know if it's going to be another form of victory for Andrade. She's, like I said, equally adept at submitting you as she is at finishing you on the feet, and that's something that's really tough to deal with. You know what I'm saying? She is a beast in there, and the former champion going to look to, I don't know what she's looking to do, because she's going back and forth between flyweight and strawweight, and you'd have to think the easier path to the belt would be strawweight, because Valentina's not in the division, simply put. I mean, I don't think Namajunas is a factor anymore. What I saw from her in her last fight, she didn't want to fight against Carla Esparza, and I would love for Rose to say something different, but she did not look like she wanted to fight and just mix it up and trade and get bloody in there in that last fight, and that's what it was going to take against Carla. But Zhang Wei Li looking really good at the top of that division. Joanna's gone. There's a changing of the guard. Even some of the older girls kind of, moving along in their careers, and that younger blood coming in. And, it's really interesting. And you look at Taylor Santos, look at her at 125, and then you look at 115. So the women's divisions are pretty stacked. But it seems like, and Lauren Murphy just beat up Miesha Tate. It was in Elmont. It was in New York. I was there on Long Island over the summer. And it was a really good fight card. In fact, who else was on that fight card the last time we saw them? Was on that fight card. Let me think about that for a second. It was, where are we at here? I just thought about that because there have been a lot of fighters from that card who have been fighting recently. And it's pretty cool to see, like the calendar for the fighters. But this was, let's see who else was on that card in Elmont that I was thinking about this week. Was it, I can't remember. I saw Johnny Walker in that Kutalaba fight. Was it him? I don't know. It was one of them. Anyway, it was Johnny Walker. And Johnny Walker's going to be in the top 10 after that last one. Johnny Walker. No, it was September 10th in Vegas we saw Johnny Walker against Kutalaba. And by the way, he lost to Jamal Hill. Knockout by a punch, Johnny Walker. So I was trying to think. Murphy, her last fight was in Elmont in New York. And there was somebody else. Was it? Oh, I saw Gilbert Burns there. That's what it was. He didn't fight. I saw him there. And I believe his brother did. So he was there with his brother. So that's who it was. Burns was there, and I saw him. And it was, Lauren Murphy on that card against Miesha Tate. And she just beat Miesha Tate up. And look, Miesha Tate not Miesha Tate anymore. We know this. And it's it is what it is. And I give her credit for still getting in there. But she's not Miesha Tate who we knew Miesha Tate to be. You know what I'm saying? We just expected Miesha Tate to be better, I think. And I fell into that tonight too. I definitely did. Andrade coming out with the Native American headdress in Brazil. She was there to headline in Rio last time, and here she is tonight. Jessica Andrade. Really like her, by the way. I'm not dissing her if I'm picking Murphy. Murphy's just such a big dog in this fight, and I mean underdog. She's over plus 400. I mean, that's crazy when you think about the odds on this fight. And we're going to keep asking you to smash the like and subscribe. Look at that octagon in all its glory right there. But Andrade getting set to go into the octagon. She doesn't have her coach with her. Her coach couldn't travel to Brazil, so his mother is cornering her. That's a true story. That is a true story. So I don't know. And look, you can talk about how much a corner means during a fight. I'm a person who believes that it means a lot. It means a lot for sure. To have your corner in your fight. and so he won't be there. Couldn't travel to Brazil, which is interesting, right? Head coach absent. Her grandmother, quote unquote, is going to corner her, and that's her coach's mother. So interesting, right? Against Lauren Murphy, a top 4. She joined the gym PRVT in 2012. She's the face of the team, 18 wins, a strawweight title. But Gilbert Piranha, her coach, can't be there tonight. So his mother will be in her corner, as will 2 of her other coaches, right? Her main cornerman is Bruno Barrow. So he has cornered alongside Piranha in previous fights for Carol Rosa, Denise Gomez, and Maria Oliveira. But Pola, who is the, quote, grandmother of, she's not really the grandmother, but Andrade calls her grandmother, is in the corner tonight. And so there you have it. But with Lauren Murphy making her walk right now, she is looking focused. She's looking ready. She's looking violent. She is looking violent. Yep, there you go. Jessica Andrade waits in the octagon. Lauren Murphy from Anchorage, Alaska. Just an incredible career for her. She wasn't even supposed to be a fighter. What a story. What a story. Lauren Murphy. I mean, you think about a girl who, she wasn't supposed to be a fighter. She grew up in a small town in Alaska. Her father died in a plane crash when she was 11. She drank and used drugs, dropped out of high school. I mean, she started martial arts. She took her son to a jiu-jitsu class in late 2009, took the class with him to encourage him, fell in love with it, started going all the time. She began training MMA 3 months later, and 14 years later, she's number 4 in the UFC. She's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, trained at the MMA lab for a long time, now at Main Street Boxing and Muay Thai, Grindhouse MMA. I mean, Lauren Murphy, she's got some good wins, right? You think about Lauren Murphy's wins. She won 5 in a row before Valentina beat her, and that was a TKO in round 4. She beat Miesha Tate by an easy unanimous decision. Of course, she made it look easy. It's never easy. But she lost to Sijara Ebanks all the way back on June 1st, 2018. Ebanks was released this past week by the UFC. Lauren Murphy, the former Invicta champion, had 5 wins in a row over Mara Romero Barella, Andrea Lee, Roxanne Modafferi, Lilia Shakirova, and Joanne Calderwood. Lost to Valentina and then beat Miesha Tate. So she has beaten the top girls in her division, and she lost 3 out of 4 and 4 out of 6 at one point. Lost to Ebanks in June of 2018, and it was what we call come to Jesus time for Lauren Murphy, and she has responded in a major way. At 39 years of age, she wants one more title shot. This might be her best chance to get it with a win over a former champ in hostile territory, and Jessica Andrade. Murphy and Andrade getting ready to get it on. Andrade is 31, Murphy's 39. And Jessica Andrade has been a fighter for a long, long time. A long time. I mean, she's just been, I mean, you think about her career. Her first fight was all the way back in 2011. Her first UFC fight was against Liz Carmouche, a loss in 2013. She won 3 in a row after that, including Raquel Pennington. She lost 2 out of 3 after that, including the rematch to Raquel Pennington. Then she beat Penne, Calderwood, and Angela Hill. Lost to Joanna Jacek, but beat Claudia Gadelia, Torres, Carolina Kowalkiewicz, Rose Namajunas with the slam to become the champ at strawweight. Had already lost the title fight to Joanna. Then she lost the split decision, or she lost by TKO to Thug Rose and lost by split decision to Zhang Wei Li, rather, and then by split decision to Thug Rose. And then win over Caitlin Chookagian, a loss to Valentina, back-to-back wins over Cynthia Calvillo at flyweight and Amanda Lemos at strawweight. But she's back at flyweight for this one. Let me see what the closing odds were for this fight. Really been studying this one and working hard to bring the right info to you guys. The odds really haven't moved that much. I mean, they really haven't. Let's see where we're at here. This was Friday. You ain't got no job. MMA odds. There we go. And they're starting up. Here they come into the center of the octagon. Andrade is wearing like the goldish yellow trimmed in black. Murphy is wearing black trimmed in red. She's got like the short sleeve t-shirt on. Whereas Andrade has that like sports bra thingy on. The fighter is able to mix and match with the Venom gear. to get their comfortable trims that they want. Look at this, circling one another. Andrade will shoot those takedowns quickly, and she's so strong, very tough to get off you. But again, she is coming up in a weight class. She's giving up some height to Lauren here, but a minus 2,500 favorite. Jessica Andrade plus 750 for Lauren Murphy. Oh, why that line? That was to bet now. That's live odds, but Murphy was about plus 400 at the start of the fight. Oh, what's going on here? Why did it say minus 2,500? Let's see. Yep. Nope, we don't want to do that. All wagers. Let's see where we're at. Oh, they're coming down as soon as the fight starts. That makes sense, but there's no live wagering here. The UFC will put it up on the screen. Andrade going with the leg kicks, but Murphy using her length with the jab. My thought on Murphy in this fight is she can reach long, and her nose is bleeding already. Andrade hit her a couple times. Murphy's shooting a takedown. She's in a clinch. She's got a lot of power in her hands. She's got a good chin, but Andrade is a tank, man. So strong, so good. This is a tough one. This is a tough one to call. And Andrade came in as a big favorite. She's throwing haymakers, chasing Murphy around the octagon. And Murphy landed a nice right hand there. Gilbert Burns, a big favorite tonight. Deck against Neil Magny, the longtime veteran. Andrade minus 550, Murphy plus 400. Right as the fight was starting, I saw Andrade at minus 2,500, and I was like, oh, no more Kraus, Minner, Molina stuff going on. Allegedly. Oh, Andrade connecting. She loves to chase you across the octagon and run at you while throwing combination hooks. Murphy ducking under, tries a takedown, dumps her down. Chest to chest and just dumped her down. Murphy showing some strength there. Andrade is slippery, though, hard to hold on to. All muscle, so strong, both these girls. I like them both, and I really think we're going to see a good fight here tonight. Inside 2 minutes left in round number one, they are not disappointing. They are not disappointing, ladies and gentlemen. With Gilbert Burns up next. That's not the crowd in Brazil, guys. So if you're saying the crowd's empty, that's not it. That's not the crowd in Brazil. Murphy's getting tagged with combos here. Andrade, 16 of 20 on leg kicks, strikes. She's really dominating here. Let's see what the numbers are on ESPN Plus. 47 to 15 total strikes, 47 to 13 significant. That's not a good start for Lauren Murphy, but for Andrade, it's amazing. But she hasn't hurt her yet. You know, you never want to get too carried away with statistics early on. I mean, obviously you want to in a round because you're looking at this round and you're figuring Andrade is going to win this round. But there's still 2 more rounds in the fight, and it could finish at any time. So many other things. But Andrade is settling in. She's dictating the pace. Murphy's takedowns are being stuffed, although she did get one. Oh, Murphy tagged by a right hand by Andrade. Oh, boy. They didn't give her the takedown on that one takedown. So still no official takedowns for Lauren Murphy, but she's eating some big shots. And she knows she's in there in a fight right now against Andrade. She came from Alaska. Oh, a big right hand from Andrade. Murphy's in huge trouble with 30 seconds left in the round, circling away. Andrade looks crisp. She looks clean. Those power shots, she's not telegraphing anything. They're perfectly placed. The timing's amazing. Everything just so beautiful. Oh, and another big right hand. That's the third huge right that Andrade has landed in this round. Sprawls to prevent the takedown. 15 seconds left. Murphy desperately trying to do anything she can to get any kind of points in this round, but she might be better off just taking it to the corner. And another big right hand from Andrade. Murphy doing everything she can. She's losing power on her punches rapidly. And oh, man, what a round for Jessica Andrade. Looking like a champion against the number 4 fighter in the division. Jessica Andrade looks amazing in round number 1. Wow. What a round for Andrade. What are you guys thinking if you're watching this? Johnny Walker, baby. Big win for Johnny. What else we got? You got Glover. Flying High 21 has Glover. Cute Bunny has Hill. Seattle Boxing Talk. Glover makes it look easy. Who do you have for the main card, Max? I have a hard time picking that one, guys. I got to be honest. Glover or Jamal Hill. I have a really hard time picking that. I really do. But yeah, Paul Craig is too limited right now, man. There's too many great fighters in that division. I'm not picking on him. I mean, it is what it is, right? Paul Craig is too much of a submission artist, jiu-jitsu. His takedowns are not good enough to rely almost solely on that. He can throw hands, don't get me wrong, but man, he's been having trouble with the takedowns in these last couple fights against these guys he's fighting. So Junas Arena in Brazil, round 2. Murphy and Andrade, here they come. Andrade still going with the leg kicks. I don't know what Murphy can do here. She's got to use the jab. She's long, and she's got a big reach advantage, and she's taller. She's got to be able to use that jab, and she's got to stay out of that range of Andrade. But walking in there, Andrade's so quick to come at her with the leg kick. Andrade is throwing a leg kick combo followed by a punch combo. So she'll throw a feint with that left leg and then drill her with a leg kick with the right, but follow that right leg kick right in with a 1-2 combo. Boom, boom, as she's coming forward with a lot of power. And those are the ones she's landing. Murphy getting in tight. I know she loves to strike in there. She loves to use that power, but I think the length of her jab is the only she's got. The kicks and the jab. She's got to use her length to keep Andrade off her, but Andrade is having no trouble getting entry. No trouble whatsoever. Coming in, getting out with no problem. Landing shots. Coming in, landing shots, getting out. And there's a big shot from Murphy. She used the jab to set it up. She can keep this girl away from her all night long with that jab. She's just got to keep doing it. And Andrade continuously running at her and hitting her with left hooks. Murphy's hands aren't up as she shoots another takedown. She is getting destroyed in this fight. Andrade is pounding Lauren Murphy, putting on a clinic in this fight. Putting on a clinic. Man, she looks good. Murphy not using the length. See where the strikes are at now. It's round 2. So if you're looking, I mean, you're not quite. You're 2 minutes into round 2, but you're at 100 to 38 for strikes. 100. If you guys are hearing me okay with my level, my volume, you're at 100 to 38 strikes right now. It's unbelievable. 100 to 38. I hope you guys are getting good levels off me on YouTube. I think I am here. I think I'm good.
You sound
but
great.
Man, thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. I hope you're doing great too. Scott's in Vegas. I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona, about 2 miles from where it's all happening. If you've been here to Old Town Scottsdale. And more combos from Andrade. Oh, man, she is unloading. Lauren Murphy is getting pulverized. Another big right hand. Lauren's a tough cookie, I'll tell you that. We're at 106 significant strikes. Every strike landed by Andrade has been a significant strike. Put it that way. Wow. Every strike is significant. That tells her she's on point. She's crisp. She's on her game. She loved this matchup for herself coming in, and she has just blitzed Lauren Murphy as they hit the 2-minute mark in round number 2. But Murphy's in big trouble. Murphy is not going to make it out of this round if she keeps taking that kind of punishment. I don't see how she's going to. But, man, this is a great fight for Jessica Andrade. I mean, she looks like a world beater. And Murphy's, I mean, let's be real. Murphy's number 4 for a reason. She's been beating everybody except Valentina. But not Jessica Andrade coming up looking like a champ. And what she did against Lemos back down at strawweight, I mean, this is a girl who could, I think, at some point be a contender in either division. She's already been a strawweight champ. She could be a girl who could fight for both belts. Murphy bleeding profusely from her nose and wiping it all over her face. Doesn't seem to be affecting her, though. She doesn't seem to be gassed. She seems to be fine. She's sharp. She's just way too slow for Andrade and not strong enough right now. She does have one leg up, though, trying to get a single leg on. Josh, so strong, though. Pulls it back down, and now she has Murphy on the mat. And that sprawl on top of Murphy. She's looking for something here. You know she's got all those submission wins. She's got 9 wins and 8 wins. I think it's 9 TKO KO or 8 TKO KO and then 9 submission. I think it's 9 submission and 8 by KO TKO, but they're almost equal. And you can see with her work on the feet tonight why. She is an elite striker. She's small, which makes me think shorter would be better for, like, Kelvin Gastelum. I always tell him, stay at welterweight. And this girl could be, I think, a champion at strawweight. It's opening back up down there. Murphy's punches losing power as the round goes on. You got under 30 seconds left. Murphy shoots another takedown, stuffed again. She can't do anything in this fight other than connect with a jab here and there from distance. But Andrade gaining entry in and out so quickly into that next level. Those 3 levels of striking. The primary level, that secondary level is, where you're going to land some things, but you want to stay between that 3 and that 2 and pop into that 1. But oh my goodness, Andrade unloading with combinations on Murphy, and the round ends with Jessica Andrade. She hit about 5 or 6 combinations in a row with no defense from Lauren Murphy at the end of that round. And Lauren Murphy's face is all busted up. It's cut. It's lumped up. Lauren Murphy's not having a good night. And Jessica Andrade is the reason why. She's fantastic in there in this fight. Andrade was a huge favorite, and now we see why. Who do I call for the W? Flying High 21. I know you're talking about Glover and Jamal Hill, and I love Jamal Hill's puncher's chance. I love thinking back to when Rumble Johnson knocked Glover's tooth across the octagon, and I don't love the thought of that because I'm violent, because I love seeing Glover get hurt. I love the thought of that for Jamal Hill, because the last time Glover fought a guy with that kind of power outside of Yuri Prochazka, I don't think Yuri has Jamal Hill's power or his speed with the punches. Let's make no mistake. Yuri is not Jamal Hill. Maybe Yuri's a better mixed martial artist than Jamal Hill. Maybe. But I guarantee you Jamal Hill is a little quicker in the striking. I know that for a fact. He's a great athlete, basketball player, and here they're going to start the next round here. But what an unbelievable performance so far by Andrade. So I lean toward Glover because of the all-around game and the Brazilian at home. And the same reason I picked Shogun. You always think the legends can dial it up one more time, but Glover's 43. It doesn't seem to be anybody else's 43 is the way I see it right now. As Murphy comes out more aggressive, and she's got no choice. You knock her out, you submit her, or you lose. Pretty much the way it goes right now for Murphy versus Andrade. And Andrade still finding those angles pretty easily to land those shots. But Murphy now keeping her away with the jab. Gotten away from that. Oh, a big right from Andrade as Murphy comes in for the shot. Now they're trading blows. In that half Muay Thai clench throwing, I love that. It's great. Murphy still looks good with the footwork. Her leg's so strong. And she does have that reach and that height on Andrade. Bishop One Eye. I worked with your wife at the Perch. Oh my God. Wow, that's funny. I never married her, thankfully. And we're not together. So that's cool. I don't know who you are. Put you who you are. Bishop One Eye, who are you in there, man? I knew everybody at the Perch. I liked everybody there. Good people. In Chandler, Arizona. But Andrade getting smoked again, or smoking Murphy again, I should say, with combinations, man. Look at this. These numbers are absurd when you think about this. 152 total strikes, 150 of them are significant. This is unbelievable. Andrade putting on a clinic. This is a brilliant performance by an incredible fighter. More shots to Murphy. Now she has her pinned up against the fence, shoulder into the armpit. Murphy's got the underhook. Interesting. Overhook. She's got the overhook. 97 strikes to the head by Andrade in this fight. Glover has a higher loss percentage than Hill. Hill is just newer. He's 11-1. He's 11-1. Now Andrade has Murphy on the ground. Murphy working for an armbar, not going to get it. Andrade pulled herself out and comes right back up with a combo. Man, she just peppered her up again. Lauren Murphy's taken so many strikes in this fight. And I mean, she's fine. No reason for the ref to stop it. She still has her wits. She looks sharp in there. She's still movement. Movement is good. She's still defending herself. I like what she's doing. She's a boss, and she is just her chin. She's getting smoked by a strong girl. And Murphy trading with her now, but taking big shot after big shot. 2 minutes left in the fight. Lauren Murphy's going to look like Joanna Jacek did in the Zhang Weili fight in March of 2020 on the Izzy Romero card. Remember Joanna with she looked like the Elephant Man. Remember the movie The Elephant Man when I was little? You probably don't, but there was a movie called The Elephant Man. Google it. Look at the guy. That's what Joanna's face looked like after that fight. And Murphy's is headed there right now. Blood everywhere. Everything is swollen. Everything is red. There's a minute 40 and counting. Andrade, just for good measure, working the body now. This has been a clinic, a hell of a performance by an incredible fighter. Jessica Andrade making a statement to both divisions tonight. She is here in 2023, and you're going to have to deal with her because she's not going anywhere. And this girl is a savage in the octagon. A minute 20 and counting remaining. And again, a big right hand from Andrade. How in the world is Murphy still on her feet? How is she still going? Wow. And I know that I'm looking at this if I'm her kid, and I'm like, I'm proud of my mom. She is a fighter in every sense. But this is not a fun night for Lauren Murphy. I mean, you're talking about under a minute left. She just continuously. Andrade is up over 216 strikes, 213 significant, 148 to the head. 148 strikes to the head. I mean, this is just wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This is crazy. Oh, again. She's going to make it, though. Oh, big uppercut from Andrade. Ooh, right down the pipe, too. Slapping that head back, the sweat and the spit go flying. Some blood, too. Left hook from Andrade landing now. And that's the end of round number 3. Wow, mercifully for Lauren Murphy. I mean, that is, wow. I just can't. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen someone take this much punishment. I mean, Joanna against Weili and Weili against Joanna, but Lauren Murphy just absolutely got blitzed from the start of this fight. Just blitz. Everything she threw seemed to land in this fight. Wow. I mean, just one of the toughest fighters in the UFC to survive Lauren Murphy in this one. Wow. This is crazy. Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade just pounded Lauren Murphy for 3. That's the Jessica Andrade you have to watch out for. No sign whatsoever of the jiu-jitsu like she showed against Lemos with that standing choke. There was no sign of the jiu-jitsu tonight. Nothing other than when she escaped that armbar. And she just blitzed Murphy. That's why she's so dangerous. I told you coming in with the number of stops on the feet versus the number of stops on the ground. And I'll tell you right now, it's 9 by knockout, 8 by submission. And now it's another one by decision, which is 7. So she's 9 by knockout, 8 by submission, 7 by decision in her 24 wins. And she takes out a very tough cookie in Lauren Murphy tonight and does it very convincingly. And that's the number 4 girl in the division. Can't wait to hear this interview. DC's in there to get it. Unbelievable, man. That's an awesome performance. And she was a big favorite. It was expected, but I didn't think Lauren Murphy was getting any respect. And the way that Andrade fought, it's easy to see why Andrade was getting all that respect. Matchup-wise, skill-wise, just outclassed her. And Valentina lords over this division. I mean, obviously, right? The Talia Santos fight was a tough one for her, but she still managed to win. The headbutt helped her a lot. But now you got that fight that she's got coming up against Manon Fiorello, and then Taylor Santos is there too. So Murphy's going to drop. Andrade is going to move up. Alexa Grasso, who fights Valentina next for the title, is at 4 with Murphy. Not anymore. Murphy's going to drop probably down into the lower half of that top 10, but Andrade will probably flip. Maybe she'll be 5 and Grasso will be 4. Maybe Andrade will be 4. After that performance, Andrade is 4, by the way, at strawweight, and she's 6 in lightweight. So of all the fighters ranked in 2 divisions in the UFC, you know what I'm saying? She is a 4 and a 6, and that 6 is going to be a higher ranking on Tuesday. But every time Murphy came in, she tried to use the jab as a point of entry and then come in with combos, but every time she did, she just got tagged. Andrade just better on the feet, just better, and obviously better on the ground. So a better overall fighter. And for Lauren Murphy, she's a champion no matter what in life. Just to make it the distance in this fight, just to do what she's done, I hate consolation prizes. I know the fighters do. None of them want the consolation prize. None of them want the attaboy or attagirl and you did great and blah, 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 rah, 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 sis, boom, bah. Nobody wants that, understandably, especially in the moment. But when your career's over, you take a look back and you go, damn, like I really did something special in the sport. And to come out of nowhere after your father died in a plane crash and having drug and alcohol issues and dropping out of high school just to take your kid to a jiu-jitsu class and use that one thing, you enjoy it. You keep going. You just keep getting better. She never had an amateur fight. She became the Invicta champion, got all the way to number 4 in the UFC, got a title fight in the UFC. How do you not love that story? How do you not love this sport? How do you not love Lauren Murphy for that? I mean, those are the reasons why we love sports. Those are the reasons why we love fighting. Those are the reasons why we love anything to do with that story. It's why we watch the Academy Awards. It's why we watch the Grammys. We want that underdog story. We want the Lauren Murphys of the world. We want to see what's possible through them. That's why I love this sport and every other, almost except soccer sport, so much. By the way, what do you guys think of the Power Slap League? Should I even bring that up? I don't even want to denigrate the chat, but they got 295,000 viewers on their first show on TBS, and they had AEW leading them in, which was like 950,000 viewers, and the Power Slap did 295,000. Keith Gordon, yeah, DC is good. Oh, David Lynch, director of The Elephant Man. Keith Gordon. Nice. See, we have I love this chat. I love you guys and girls because I'm always anything I need an answer to. No respect. I'll tell you, no respect. I like that. Flying High 21. I'll tell you, no respect around here. No respect whatsoever. Rodney Dangerfield. Man, I got to call the suicide hotline. They put me on hold. No respect. I'll tell you, no respect. Those guys who know it, there it is. And Keith, yep, Keith loves DC. Someone translate. Alguien tiene link para verla. What does that mean? She got beat like she stole something. Yeah, she kind of did. There's Mackenzie Dern. She was on the beach this week, coming off a loss, but Mackenzie's a fun girl. I like her. Uriah Faber in the house. Paulo Costa next to him, but they're not showing Paulo. You're like, bro, you just backed out of a fight. You don't like your contract? We ain't showing you on TV. You lucky you got a ticket. I don't even know if they gave him a ticket. Be interesting. How about Lewis and Spivak finally going to fight Sunday, February 5th? Damn right, says Keith. Andrade versus Valentina too. Well, she's got to fight Grasso first, and Andrade in strawweight, man. This girl could have title shots in 2 divisions in 1 year with no problem. I've thought that about her for a while. Look, I mean, the Zhang Weili thing, for some reason, Zhang just had trouble with Rose, but Zhang Weili's the best fighter in that division. Joanna's gone, and Zhang's been the best fighter for a while. She is the best fighter at strawweight, right? Does anybody disagree with that? Does anybody disagree with Joanna, with Zhang Weili? She's by far the best fighter at strawweight. Carla, the wrestler, Rose is ahead of Andrade, and so is Lemos. I mean, I'd love to see Andrade get her and Carla again. But at strawweight, she's kind of out of those fights. She's had those fights, right? So when you think about those fights, who would be next for Jessica Andrade? What are you guys thinking? What are you guys thinking? She lost to Valentina not that long ago. I mean, it was 3 fights ago now, and it was 2021, but it was 3 fights ago. Valentina has other girls to fight. But then again, the strawweight division, she just beat Lemos, who's right there at the top. And, you're looking at Zhang Weili. She's lost to Rose Namajunas. She's lost to Valentina. She lost to Joanna, who's gone. But when you look at the top of that division, she's fought Lemos, Rose, and Weili. It's funny that Lemos is ranked ahead of her when she choked her out last year and what she's doing. So Lemos should not be ranked ahead of her. They're showing a promo right now for Volkanovski versus Islam coming up on February 12th. That's the next pay-per-view. And then, by the way, you got 2 in March. March 4th in Vegas, UFC 285. Some guy named John Jones making his comeback. I don't know what you guys are thinking about that. It's not Francis Ngannou. It's not Stipe Miocic. It's Cyril Gane. And I don't understand that other than Cyril Gane being the next big star they want to make. Look, Stipe's 40. Francis 35. I don't think the UFC really thought Francis moved the needle. He did an interview on the MMA Hour, all right? And as it was live, there were 33,000 viewers for the heavyweight champion of the world. Those aren't numbers that you're going to get huge money for. Those aren't numbers that says the whole world's watching you every move. Now, is Francis must-see TV? Can you take your eyes off him in the octagon? No, because someone's head's going to get flown, it seems like, every time he goes in there. And even against Cyril Gane, the wrestling was phenomenal. That was fun to watch. Must-see TV. You do not want to miss Francis when he's in the octagon. When he's outside of the octagon, no one cares. And unfortunately, that's the society we live in. We live in a society of instant gratification. If you're not in people's faces all the time with your shit, with your content, with whatever you're doing, with your fight that you're promoting, if you're not in people's faces 24/7 on social media, if people don't want to watch you all week long like they do Conor McGregor, like they did Hamzat when he missed weight, like Diaz, if they don't want to watch the press conferences and they don't want to watch the weigh-ins to see what you're going to do, that's a big handicap when it comes to selling numbers and pay-per-views to get paid. So the UFC looking at it like, hey, we're offering you $8 to $10 million a fight. 8 million is the number I'm hearing. We're offering you $8 to $10 million a fight. You don't want it? Go somewhere else, man. We're the UFC. And if you want a circus fight, go do it. You want to go fight Jake Paul? Go do it. You want to go fight Tyson Fury and get your head knocked into the 5th row and risk permanent damage for the rest of your life, because you will, go do it. You want to fight Wilder? You want to fight Joshua? You will get destroyed, picked apart. You'll get your head knocked off, Francis. And I love Francis. He's going to get killed by any of those boxers. Mark my word. He will not land a punch against those boxers. That's how good they are. And he's not a boxer. Okay? He is not a boxer, Francis Ngannou. Not a boxer. He's a striker in the UFC. And there is an enormous difference in those two things. If you haven't seen by the fact that Jake Paul has been knocking everybody out or beating everybody who he's fought, who are MMA fighters. And yeah, they're older, and yeah, they're past their prime, and whatever. MMA fighters are not boxers, guys. I understand why Francis wants the money. It's a terrible position to be in. But you, my friend, are a mixed martial artist. You want to sign with the PFL and, like Dana said, fight nobodies? Do it. You want to fight in Bellator after Bader embarrasses Fedor again and he gets sent out on a stretcher, that fight in LA in February on CBS? Then maybe Bader fights Francis Ngannou, who I believe would destroy Ryan Bader, and I love Bader. Maybe not the new Ryan Bader, but I still think Francis would beat him pretty easily. I think that Francis doesn't move the needle enough, but I still also believe in the back of Dana's mind somewhere, in the back of Hunter's mind somewhere, I'm saying to myself, I have to believe, and you guys heard it here first. I've been saying it on my podcast all week. Francis Ngannou will be back in the UFC. He wants to go do the boxing match. Maybe he goes to the PFL. If he goes to BKFC, it's a big mistake. I don't like BKFC at all. I'm on the record with that. Dave Feldman, I don't have anything against Dave. I don't have anything against the fighters or anybody in the organization. My guy Sean Wheelock's the play-by-play announcer. I don't like the sport. I don't like the bare knuckle. I don't like Diego Sanchez being cleared by any commission anywhere to do anything to do with fighting anymore. They do it in New Mexico. He's going to be bare knuckle now, and he wants Diaz. He's going to fight Austin Trout in bare knuckle. Do you know what Austin Trout's going to do to Diego Sanchez? Does anyone even care about Diego Sanchez? No, obviously not, for letting him do this. That's why I don't like the bare knuckle thing. So I don't want to see Francis go to bare knuckle. I don't want to see any fighters go to bare knuckle from the UFC, because the UFC to me is here, and they should be here. No one leaves the NFL to go to the XFL. Did The Rock sign Patrick Mahomes? No. You know, so I don't know what Francis is doing. I don't know how you turn down $8-10 million a fight. I just, it's not my business. Like I said, I like him. Mighty Mouse never moved the needle. Guys, you don't just get paid for being great at what you do. You know that, right? All these fans and all these people I talk to in the sport, Mighty Mouse should have made all this money. For what? Why? I like Mighty Mouse. He's great. He's a legend. Why do you pay someone just for being great if they're not making you money? He never made anybody any money, including himself, and I like Mighty Mouse. Flyweights, it's hard to get people to pay attention. Figueiredo and Moreno, perfect example. They've been the main event once in 4 fights. This is their 3rd time as the co-main. Tell me why. Easy. If Cejudo didn't save the division, there wouldn't be one right now. People don't want to watch those little guys. People love watching the big boys knock each other out. The bigger the weight class, the bigger the numbers, usually. Unless you have a Conor, unless you have a Diaz, unless you have those guys, right? Ronda was different. Unless you have that story, that buzz, that one athlete who, like I just said, you can't do what? You can't take your eyes off them. You watch the pressers, you watch the weigh-ins, you watch the fights, you watch the post-fight, you watch the Instagram, you watch the YouTube, you watch the embedded, you watch every single damn thing they put out, because you can't get enough of watching that person. Francis Ngannou, look, this is not my opinion. This is facts. These are records. These can be proven. Francis Ngannou is not that guy that you want to watch all the time. He's not. And that hurts on a fight week. The UFC has numbers they track on social media that can tell them within a real close number how the pay-per-view is going to do. Francis doesn't move those needles. Listen to me. When the UFC just lets someone go, whether it was Rory McDonald or Ryan Bader or Benson Henderson or any of the Mousasi, any Anthony Pettis, just keep going. When the UFC says you can go, no matter who you are, he's the heavyweight champ. It's unprecedented. Everybody's losing their mind. Even Joe Rogan was upset about it. I'm not happy about it. No one's happy about it. But they have teams who have teams who have teams who look at the numbers. It's all about numbers. Go to your boss and ask for a raise tomorrow. What are you generating for the company? What do you want back from it? Francis is not generating a lot for the UFC. And let me say this. Francis is not generating more than $8 to $10 million for a fight. Now, keep in mind, he would have had pay-per-view points. Maybe it's a $15 million payday. He made it about respect. And in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and again, I really, really like Francis Ngannou. I've met him and interviewed him a bunch of times. Hair, no hair, you name it. I've known him a long time. Okay, when he fought Kane in Phoenix, he made it a point to come to my studio and do an interview in Scottsdale, Arizona. He made it a point. Dave Lockett in the UFC brought him over, but he made it a point to come to me and come to my studio to do it. Kane invited me to his room to do an interview that week, but Francis is a good dude, right? So I think about it this way. I have to be objective with my job. I have to speak the truth. What value do you bring, and how much of it do you want? What are you making me? What percentage do you want? End of story. LeBron James is paid the same way, okay? Ronaldo is paid the same way. Tyson Fury, the same way. Floyd Mayweather, the same way. Conor McGregor, the same way. Tom Cruise, the same way. The Rock, the same way. Musicians, the same way. Drake, the same way. How much did you make? How much am I making? How much do you want? Unless you own it all yourself, like Mayweather, then you're paying everybody else. Or, in his case, not paying everybody else. Right? Allegedly. Don't sue us, Floyd. You have enough money. We love you. But I'm excited for this Magny and Burns fight. Burns better watch out. He's been chirping too. I think fighters get too emotional. I get too emotional. I just got emotional with my kids over my birthday. I was a little upset about something. But sometimes we get emotional as humans, right? So Gilbert Burns is pissed that he's not fighting Masvidal or Colby. Nobody took his call out. He's not a money-making fighter. He's not. And I love Gilbert Burns. He's amazing, but he's not a money-making fighter. Magny is a steady veteran. Burns' mind has been everywhere else leading into this fight, and he's a big favorite. He should steamroll Magny with his jiu-jitsu and his power and his chin, but he does get caught a lot. He eats jabs all day, Gilbert Burns. All day, talking to my boy Joe Aberdeen, who's a big fan, MMA Bet Club. Put some bets up there. It's fun betting. It's like a fantasy site. It's really cool. MMA Bet Club. They sponsored us over the summer here on MMA Weekly at International Fight Week. As Burns walks out now in Brazil, finally he can just be in his element. He was distracted all week. Look, I think Francis Ngannou got emotional in his negotiations, just like I think Burns got emotional about the fight this week. I should be fighting this guy. I should be fighting that guy. I should be here. I should be there. No. Lavelle Johnson, Cejudo took off because he wanted more money. You got to move the needle. He tried the whole triple C thing. He's been doing it for 4 years, 5 years, trying to get this cringe to work and make him money. It's very difficult to become must-see TV. Nick Davis, the lead-up stories be the best part before the fights for real. Yeah. Steve Jamison, Francis just like Mighty Mouse, a good, humble dude who does his talking in the cage and is a regular guy. Regular guys don't get paid. Keith Gordon, amped up, Bones. I think John Jones is going to wreck Cyril Gane. I think John Jones is going to wreck Stipe, and I love Stipe. This is why I think Francis is going to be back in the UFC. Jones is going to beat Cyril Gane. Make no mistake about it. They're the same weight. Jones is going to beat him. John Jones will beat Cyril Gane. Mark my words. He will beat him, and he will not have a problem doing it. Will he finish him? I don't know, but that's going to be an easy win for John Jones. And I'm calling it right now. I've been a Cyril Gane guy from the beginning. I've been on him, and I've been saying he's going to make it to the top. But the performance that he put on against Francis, the way he got out wrestled in that fight, and the way he almost got finished by Tai Tuivasa, as athletic and as fast and as good as Cyril Gane is, man, Man, oh man, oh man. I mean, the layoff's long for Jones. It's real, but I'm taking John. And he beats Stipe, I think, easily. Takes him down, beats him up, elbows. Goodbye, Stipe. And I love Stipe, but at 40 years old, you know, in the heavyweight division, having taken the shots he's taken, I don't think I'm wrong. Jones beats those two. Who's next? Sergey Pavlovich? Okay, so he goes in there and takes John's head off, maybe. Maybe he doesn't. I love Pavlovich. I want to see him fight Francis. Can you imagine that fight? I mean, those two headhunters just trying to knock each other's dome into the fifth row, Francis and Pavlovich, that'd be awesome. But John Jones is so smart, man, and he mixes. Anthony Smith can talk all the crap he wants, but in the end, he still complimented him. He said, John's not the best wrestler. He's not the best striker. He's not the best jiu-jitsu. He's not the best at anything. And he's not the smartest, highest IQ fighter like everybody says, but he's really good at putting everything together. Hence the term. Hence the term. Are you ready? Mixed martial arts. Mixed. Everything. Burns, somersaults in the octagon. How fun would it be to be a Brazilian fighter on this card tonight? How amazing would that be to hear that crowd? Just freaking amazing, man. Carla would benefit from an atomweight division. Yeah, she would. She's strong, too, as a wrestler. Rose doesn't have the same fire in her. I mean, she just didn't want to fight, I don't think, against Carla. That was my thing, you know? And look, it's not me. That's not me. How do I say this? I don't know. It just is. It's how I feel. No, Jones isn't fighting tonight. John is going to bring his glory into the cage. He's not the light outside the ring, but inside the locked doors, he's GOAT. And Cejudo's the same way. And if you haven't watched Henry Cejudo's YouTube channel with the workout videos with Jones, go watch them. They're awesome. Henry Cejudo's becoming the guy that everyone's going to see. And why the hell wouldn't they? I've known him since the Olympics. He's an Olympic gold medalist, was picked to finish last at the Olympic trials, last in the Olympics, won both. Think about that. Last in both, won both. He wasn't supposed to be our guy on the team at the Olympics, let alone win the gold. It was a huge upset to even make the team, Henry Cejudo. All right? But he did, and he won gold. Then he comes into the UFC. He loses to Mighty Mouse, gets knocked out with a body shot, humiliating for him, whatever he's talking about. Then the BS loss, the bullshit loss to Benavidez, where they took a point in Vegas, and Henry's never fought in Vegas again, and I don't think he ever will. But he has become a two-division champion in the UFC, and now one of the top coaches and brightest minds in the game, to where Jones is coming to him. Yuri went to him. Zhang Weili trains with him. Figueiredo trained with him for the last fight, which is why he won, which is why he's not going to win tonight, because he decided to stay at home with Charles Oliveira. And that is not a recipe for success so far, has not been for Deiveson Figueiredo. The fight-ready team helped him in a major way to win that fight. Henry, Captain Eric, his conditioning. I'm going Moreno tonight because Figueiredo did not train at fight ready for this last one. Burns by submission, definitely a better bet, Paul George fan. Who's upper echelon in the class? Lavelle. Burns against the taller Magny with the reach. And, of course, Magny, that elevation team. And he's trained with Hamzat. I had a story about that this week. But Magny out of Colorado and the solid veteran, man. But I think Magny might be better as a kickboxer. Burns is built like a tank. His takedowns are great. He's strong. He hits like a truck. A lot of people thinking Burns is going to win pretty easily on this one. Now, this one was, minus 455 for Burns and plus 355 rather for Magny. But I mean, look, Neil Magny's, this guy's been around a long time, and this is a solid, a veteran of so many fights and so many wars, and this guy can beat anybody on almost anybody on almost any given night. I mean, is he a championship level fighter? Probably not, but is he capable of beating just about anybody anytime? Yeah. Yes, as evidenced by his win over Robbie Lawler, as evidenced by his win over Carlos Condit, as evidenced by his win over Johnny Hendricks, as evidenced by his win over D-Rod, by his win over Jeff Neal. I mean, his last two losses are to Rachmanov in June of last year and to Michael Chiesa in January of 2021. He's lost to Rafael dos Anjos, Lorenz Larkin, but he's beaten Kelvin Gastelum. He's beaten Hector Lombard. I mean, this guy's beaten some really good fighters. Are any of them as good as Gilbert Burns? Have they ever been as good as Gilbert Burns? Robbie Lawler was a champion. He wasn't a champion then. Condit was great too. Oh, nice takedown by Gilbert Burns. Got chest to chest and just bulldozed him over. And now he's got Magny with his head up against the cage. Burns wearing those yellow trunks with the green writing. Loves being in his country of Brazil. What a night for Gilbert Burns, right? I mean, I thought he was a little distracted coming in, and that can be dangerous, especially with a guy like Magny, who's been in a lot of fights. But, I mean, Burns, let's be real. Burns should win this fight easily. The skill set that he has, and this is just, hey, let's give Gilbert one in Brazil. And, you think it's not a gimme. Nobody's a gimme, and Magny's a good fighter. But, I mean, Burns, he had that 6-fight win streak. Maya and Woodley were the last two. He lost to Usman, but remember, he rocked the champion in round 1. I mean, you don't want to be on the ground rolling around with Gilbert Burns, no matter who you are in the UFC, obviously. But Usman came back and got that TKO in round 3. Then he beat Wonder Boy by unanimous decision. Gilbert Burns, that was not an easy one, but it was, it was a pretty comfortable fight for him. And then he lost to Khamzat Chimaev, and that fight was, 9 months ago at UFC 273? Unanimous decision, and that was the Coco main in Jacksonville, fight of the night. A very close one. I thought Burns did enough to win, but I also thought Khamzat did enough to win. So I had no problem with the judging there. I like Gilbert too. I see him a lot. I see him at his brother's fights when I'm out at the events. Saw him at Fight Week over the summer. Did a nice interview with him at the Fan Expo. And we got some big things coming up with MMA Weekly. We're gonna be doing some. We had some big shows toward the end of last year, and the UFC out of the country for a couple of them, so that kind of changes things a little bit for us. But we got some big things coming your way this year. I mean, this has just become what Gilbert Burns likes to do. He's just been spinning around on the ground with Magny underneath him, just rolling, working for position, looking for submissions, trying to get the full mount, just slowly. And you know what jiu-jitsu is all about. Just slowly using your movement against you, along with your own movement and your using your opponent's movements against them and going with that flow to set up submissions. And Burns has got those legs all the way underneath Magny now, but he only has 1:05 to work. He's got his legs all the way underneath him. He's got a full mount up against the cage. He's got his arm behind his head. And Gilbert Burns can either choose to wail away and go for a G&P here or look for some sort of submission. Let's see what the approach is. He's got 51 seconds left. Arm triangle. Yeah, this is Magny's done. Yeah, he's going to tap. Arm triangle. Gilbert Burns puts an arm triangle on you up against the cage with his weight on you like that. And, I mean, easy work for Gilbert Burns tonight. Magny's shaking up down there on the ground. Just when you get a guy like Burns pulling on your limbs and just moving your body around and trying to choke you. And, I mean, it's exhausting. You can't do anything at all. And you end up losing. I mean, it was just an unbelievable performance by Burns. The Brazilian crowd's going crazy. And actually, it's sold out. It's packed in there tonight. And they are screaming and yelling for their boy, Gilbert Burns, right now. He's up on top of the octagon, up on top of the fence. Smash the leg, bros. There you go. It costs $0. Thank you, Flying High 21. We really appreciate you very, very much. Where can we watch the fights for free? Nowhere. And I mean, maybe a sports bar, but you're still going to buy some beers, I hope, some drinks, some food, or you can't be that one table. I've done so many events and watched fights at so many bars over the years and games. You can't be the dude. And I've seen dudes on NFL Sundays. They get the iced tea or the soda refill, and they get like maybe an appetizer at 7:00, and the fights are over at like 11:30, and they're still picking at the same appetizer and getting the free refill on the Coke and tipping the waitress $1.50. Yeah, that's why places put in spend limits or minimums. I don't know what you guys are thinking, though. Gilbert Burns, I mean, everybody knew Gilbert Burns was going to win. I thought Lauren Murphy had a better chance than she ended up showing. That just was an incredible performance by Jessica Andrade. Johnny Walker looking like a world beater. That's 4 in a row, guys. You realizing that? That's 4 beheadings in a row for Johnny Walker. Actually, one was a submission, wasn't it? Was it 3 beheadings and a submission for Johnny Walker? Let me look back here because he lost to Jamal Hill. He lost to Thiago and Jamal Hill back-to-back. Okay, so that's back-to-back for Johnny Walker. That's back-to-back for him. It's Jamal Hill that's got the 3 skeletons hanging up. The back-to-back-to-back finishes. But yeah, here's Gilbert Burns, name being announced as the winner by Bruce Buffer. Monster's big in Brazil. They got more stuff on the octagon now. Gilbert Burns with that Brazilian flag turned into a headband. But look, Gilbert Burns, you're supposed to win this fight. You're supposed to win this fight easily. If you're a title contender, if you're at the top of that division, you have to beat guys like this. You have to beat the Magnys. You have to beat the Dobers. You have to beat the Bobby Greens. You have to beat those really tough veterans who are standing in your way. And sometimes you lose a couple of fights when you get up to the top. Maybe you even get a title fight. You lose a fight, and then you're looking at a situation like Burns where he's number 5 in the division. Magny's number 12, but there's a clear difference, right? Burns is a top 3 dude in his mind. He had to go out and prove that tonight, and he absolutely did. He dominated Neil Magny. He's speaking Portuguese right now to the crowd down there in Rio de Janeiro. Brazil. I love it. I love it. Burns is, I mean, he looks animated. He's like, this is Brazil. This is Brazil. Burns is an animal. Everyone run away from me. I'm coming. I am going to be the champ. He said, for everyone running away from me, I'm coming, and I will be the champ. I mean, Burns just got his arms around the waist of Magny, picked him up and threw him down, circled around him, worked for that position. Magny trying to fight it with that leg, couldn't do it. Burns got the full mount, and then once he got the full mount with the legs crossed underneath him, it was only a matter of time. He could have done whatever he wanted, but I mean, that triangle choke, that arm triangle, that's the RDA finish, the Barberena. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting, guys. That was a hell of a performance by Gilbert Burns. And we have a guy like that who's so strong and so heavy on the ground. The minute they take you there, you know, you're done. Thank you, Digital Ghost. Appreciate it. Really appreciate all you guys being in here tonight for MMA Weekly's live coverage of UFC 283. I'm Jim Grease, at Jim Grease _ at Cageside Grease on social media. MMA Weekly, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Of course, here on YouTube, smash that subscribe button, the like, the bell. You'll get alerts, but it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. And it really helps us a lot because it boosts up all our numbers all the way across the board, helps with the algorithm. And if you like the content that we bring in, not just these shows that I do, although I love the shows that I do, but we provide all kinds of awesome content on site from the fights, other stuff in that. I mean, the highlights coming up after the fights that our boy Jake Hatton does for us. You know, we got some good stuff going on. Oh, Alexandre Pantoja, number 2. He was the backup fighter tonight for Moreno and Figueiredo. Bronx coming off that bad loss. That's a tough one against Islam, but I'm pretty confident you're going to see a lot more fighters lose like that to him. Dude's crazy. I mean, it's hard to pick against Volkanovski. What are you guys thinking about that one? Brazil has the best MMA fighters now. Please explain. I would like to hear the explanation for that one. I'm not saying they don't, but I'm not saying they do. Yep. Free commentary. There we go. Figueiredo and Moreno coming up next, guys. This is it. I mean, we got to talk about this, right? Do you guys care about this fight? Please tell me you do. Someone please restore my faith in humanity as fight fans, because these two are as good as it gets in this company. I mean, these guys are just animals, man. Brandon Moreno he hits like a 145er. Figueiredo does too, maybe like a 55er. They're well-rounded. They got jiu-jitsu. I hope Figueiredo had taken care of his cardio issues before the last fight. I don't trust his camp outside of Fight Ready. I trust everyone's camp at Fight Ready a lot more. It's a big part of why I pick dudes in fights when they train at Fight Ready, because Dave Zoine has put together a team down there with Henry Cejudo and Eddie Cha and Santino DeFranco and Frankie Saenz and all those guys and all those brains and all those minds down there. They've put together a hell of a team. You know what I'm saying? And oh, look, a Ronda Rousey commercial. What's this for? She's still making money, doing well in the WWE. Is this a video game? She's like an anime character now. Oh, Raid Shadow Legends, free Ronda Rousey. Okay. Hey, why not, right? Yep. Ronda Rousey in cartoon form now. Just talking about her life, her career, failing. And she said when she started fighting, she knew it was all going to go right. In the Olympics, she won the bronze, and she was amazing in the UFC. Wow, what a run Ronda had. You have to give her that. That was incredible. Ronda Rousey in the UFC. It seems like yesterday, right? Seems like yesterday. Where does the time go? I just had my 51st birthday on Tuesday. Unbelievable. Vamos Moreno. Moreno for the W. Moreno fights with heart every time. No, they're not the last fighters in that weight class, Joel. We got, I mean, Henry did his thing and beat Dillashaw. They were going to kill the division. They were close to it. They really were. But, I mean, you got Moreno, you got Figueiredo, you got Pantoja, you got Kai Kara France, you got Brandon Royval. Molina was really doing well until the scandal. You got Nicolau and you got Perez. I mean, Albazi is going to be a beast in there. Amir Albazi. I mean, Henry Cejudo's been all over that dude, talking about how great he looks. Schnell's a tough dude. I mean, you got really good fighters. I just saw Tim Elliott in Kansas City over the when I did the Triller fights in October. I did those interviews. He was there with one of the boxers. He's number 11. Tim Elliott been around a long time, but yeah. So the flyweight division is pretty good. I mean, look, bantamweight's so jacked. Featherweight and lightweight and welterweight, those divisions are so stacked with talent. But now you got light heavyweight, and for a while there, heavyweight looked like it was going to be stacked too. But now you have no Francis Ngannou, man. And here is Figueiredo and Moreno, the first quadrilogy ever in the UFC. Think about that, the first quadrilogy ever in the UFC. Moreno fought Pantoja to become, or Kara France rather, to become the interim champ, which he is now. So, but besides that, Figueiredo's last 3 fights have been against Moreno. Draw, loss by submission, win by decision. Figueiredo doesn't have a finish in this quadrilogy now. Moreno has 1, but they're 1-1-1, 1-1-1, 1-1 and 1, 1 draw. Each one has a win, so you get the quadrilogy for a couple of reasons. One, because of what I just told you, but more importantly, there aren't enough fighters in the flyweight division to continuously provide more title contenders. So it's happening at 45. Volkanovski cleaned it out, so he's going to fight Islam, right? It happens. Oliveira was 1 fight away from cleaning out 55. Now Islam beat him, and he hasn't cleaned out all those other guys, so it opens things back up for Gaethje and Poirier and all those guys. I don't think Chandler's going to get another title fight, but I do believe that at the end of the day, those guys might get another title shot. Gaethje, it depends on the physique fight. Poirier, right in line, because Islam beats Volkanovski, or regardless, Volkanovski beats Islam. They just are not Charles Oliveira. But whoever wins that fight is probably going to have to fight Charles within a fight or two. Maybe Charles has 1 fight in between, but he's beaten Poirier, he's beaten Gaethje, he's beaten Chandler. Who are you going to have Charles fight? He's lost to Islam. Obviously, he's going to want a rematch there. If Volkanovski wins and it's a close fight, Islam gets the rematch right away because it's the 155, or at 45, what do you do? But if Volkanovski wins at 55 and then decides to go back down to 45, I mean, you got Beneil Dariush in there. I mean, it's just loaded. It's just loaded. But as far as this one goes here, Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno, I mean, you're talking about the first fight was, I think, the last fight of the year a couple of years ago, about a year and a half ago now. It was the last fight of 2020. It was the last fight of COVID. It was the last night, anyway. UFC 256 in Las Vegas. They both went to the hospital. Figueiredo for stomach issues. Moreno was beaten up in that fight. Figueiredo deducted 1 point in round 3 due to a groin strike. They were the main event on that one, and that was Ferguson and Oliveira. Tony Ferguson and Charles Oliveira, the co-main. But Figueiredo has laid waste. I mean, he has laid waste. He lost to Jussier Formiga, and you remember Jussier Formiga was a contender for a while. He lost there. He beat Joseph Benavidez for the vacant flyweight championship, but he wasn't eligible to win it because he weighed too much. Then he won the vacant title, the second fight against Joe. He defended it against Alex Perez, the guillotine choke, 2 wins in a row. And then, Brandon Moreno. Yeah, but this wasn't this fight, was it? He went back to Brazil to train for this one. Yeah, and he did it. Yep, that's what he did. Yep. He went to Henry and Fight Ready and went, and they're just giving the backstory here. I mean, think about it. It's quadrilogy. What are some of your favorite trilogies you've seen? And this is a quadrilogy. What would you like to see a quadrilogy of? Another quadrilogy maybe you'd like to see. Who's going to win this fight and why? Figueiredo or Moreno? Figueiredo's got big power. So does Moreno. He's got a chin, that left hook. I mean, they both dropped one another. But again, Figueiredo has not finished Brandon Moreno. He's dropped him. He's had him in those positions. And Figueiredo won by a very close decision the last time out. Moreno was not happy. In fact, it was in Anaheim when Francis fought Cyril Gane last January. It's a year ago. And tonight they finish it. I've been calling it the brawl to settle it all. But 2 incredible warriors, a Brazilian and a Mexican fighter who are among the very best of their eras in all time in the UFC. And I'm very, very excited about this fight. So I don't know what you guys are thinking. You're tired of Figueiredo and Moreno. Yeah, guys, I don't know why it's lagging. I'm sorry about that. I mean, I have a strong internet connection here, and I'm watching the fights on my phone on the 5G. I'm not even on the internet, so I don't know what in the world's going on with this internet connection tonight. Yeah, nope, I'm just watching them in here. All the time we've been waiting for this fight, and they're just about to do their walkouts now. Look at this building. I don't think it's full on the top, though. That's a shame. They haven't been there in 4 years. Yeah, that rig, the octagon in the middle of any arena. And that La Justa arena is nice, man. They've had some big comp. Paul McCartney played there. The Olympics they built it for the Olympics. You know what I'm saying? They built it for the Olympics. And La Justa, you know what that means? La Justa in French. In French, Jeusse. It's a French name. You know what it means? The young, the youth. Appreciate all you do, but it's lagging too much. Thank you for the super chat, Bentavault Quinticu 456. $2. Appreciate that. Yep. T-Mobile. Who said that? T-Mobile. No, nothing on the network. Zero. I mean, I'm literally... Can you guys hear me okay? Here comes Brandon Moreno. I do not know why. Brandon Moreno's got that white headband. He's in the black and gold, befitting a champion, even though he's not a champion. He's an interim champion, but you guys know how I feel about interim champions. I would not want that label had I been a champion before, an undisputed champion. I wouldn't want to be an interim champ. That's why I thought we never saw the interim fight between Jones and Stipe. It would be an insult to either one of those guys to call them an interim. I don't know. Interesting. Moreno taking his time, obviously. A big fight for him. Very focused in the zone. And it bears mentioning, guys, this is a big story. And you know he went with Saeed, so he's all right. But, man, it's and Fortis MMA. But Moreno was training with Krause for the last fight and now this one. And he had started his camp with James Krause, who, of course, is suspended for the betting scandal with Molina, who's one of those flyweights at the top, and then, you know, Minner. And they were all making a lot of money on the fights. A lot of fighters and coaches I know had been making a lot of money betting on fights. A lot of money. And, you know, now he can't do it, obviously. And you got the investigation with Krause and Minner and everyone and the insider info. And that all sucks. But it didn't suck as bad for any of us as it did for Brandon Moreno, who lost his coach. And he was granted, you know, what is he about 6 weeks out, maybe? Ish? Yeah. Yeah, I have kids. Someone asking me if I have kids. I do. I have 3, 20, 15, and 13. Sounds fine, but the video's lagging. That's weird. There we go. He said the meeting a year ago surprised him. He got a wrestling coach, Pedro Lopez. I'm going to try to really get the most out of those. I mean, look, these opportunities don't come along in life. I mean, this is house money for both of them, but it is bragging rights. They've both accomplished so much in their careers. They've been champion. They've been, you know, they made their money. They have, and they're going to keep making more money with, especially tonight, but they've shown what they can do. They've proven that they can be champion. They've shown everything that they can do against one another. This fight tonight is about one thing, and it's the most important thing in life: legacy. This fight is about legacy. Who won the quadrilogy? Whoever wins tonight is going to win. How great will it be if it's a draw? We get a quintrilogy. You guys are already sick of Figueiredo and Moreno, but I don't know how you could get sick of watching great fighters fight each other. Would you get sick of watching Jordan play against Barkley or Clyde Drexler every night in his prime? Would you ever get sick of watching Kobe and T-Mac go at it? I could watch every game. Would you ever get tired of watching, I don't know, Randy Johnson face A-Rod? Would you ever get tired of that? I wouldn't. I don't see how you get tired of great fighters fighting each other. I really don't. I mean, to me, that just means, and I'm not picking on anybody here, but it almost seems like being a spoiled fight fan. If you're tired of seeing these two guys fight, I mean, I don't know how. How? I mean, just look at their athleticism, the high-level exchanges. They're like two Rey Mysterios in there. If you're, it's unbelievable. Don't preach to me about being broke in America and you don't have kids. Just saying. Yeah, if you're broke in America and you don't have kids, it's pretty much self-inflicted. It's pretty much self-inflicted anyway. But if you're broke and you don't have kids, it is definitely self-inflicted. Moreno wins it in round 1 or loses the decision. Nobody's downloading games or music on Wi-Fi. Nobody else is here. Just me. I don't know why. I mean, I could just be so handsome that the picture has to be distorted because there's just so much smoke here. I don't know. That's a wild theory, right? What do we think? That might be it. Look at that. I'm not even moving on the screen. Moreno is going to smash. We're sick of pay-per-view prices going up while we see the same fighters. I mean, I'm not saying you don't have a valid argument there, a valid point, but the pay-per-view prices don't go up if people stop paying them. You have to remember that. Enough people are paying them, and the UFC has a guarantee from ESPN now. ESPN's the one that raises the prices, not the UFC. So everyone, of course, Dana's going to raise the prices now to fund his Power League. No, he's not. It's not Dana. It's ESPN. It's $79.99. I mean, it's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. It's not. And you're spending it once a month. Next month, maybe twice. It's not an easy spend. I get it. But let's be real. How much did you spend on the beer for the party or the alcohol? How much do you spend going out drinking? You can always find the money. You can always find the money. I'm blowing smoke. Tony Ferguson wins in round 1. I love the comments in this chat. Here we come, guys. Figueiredo enters the octagon in Brazil. And again, 3 times the co-main, only once the main. The odds history, Figueiredo was a big favorite in the first 2 fights, a dog in the third one at 155, plus 155, and plus 110 in this one. He was minus 335 in the first one, minus 210 in the second one. Moreno has been favored the last 2 fights. So clearly, and if you've watched them, you've thought that Moreno has gotten the better of Figueiredo since that first fight. Deiveson got choked out in fight 2, and in fight 3, you saw Moreno really land some things, but he did get dropped a couple times, and I don't know why Moreno's cardio didn't look as good to me in that last fight. And Figueiredo's was better, but he does not have Cejudo and Captain Eric and all those guys in his corner tonight. He looks ripped. He made weight with no problem. Maybe he took what he learned here and took it back, but he's 35 years of age. Moreno, 29, still young in the sport. Moreno's got a 2-inch reach advantage and a 2-inch height advantage and a 6-year age advantage in terms of being younger. 21-2-1 for Figueiredo, 26-2 for Figueiredo. For Moreno, who is the minus 130 favorite. Figueiredo, the plus 110 dog, and Buffer's got the mic. We're getting ready. 5 rounds in the brawl to settle it all. Bell, Cleary, and Diamato, the judges. Herb Dean, the ref. Pay-per-view goes up. The commercials stay the same. I'd pay $30 a month for ESPN if there was an option for no commercials. Yeah, well, you know what? That's the world we live in. It used to be you either paid a subscription or you watched the commercials. Now you're paying for something and you're getting the commercials. And that's not right. I mean, that's why you paid for HBO and Showtime. And I don't believe in showing commercials in something that somebody's already paying for like that, because you're double dipping, triple dipping. But that's the world we live in, and there's room in between the fights. So it is what it is. So the younger fighter wins 64% of the time in the UFC. That from DraftKings. I like that. Looking for Moreno to finish in round 1, says Joel. Modern GMZ says 100% sure Figgy wins. Vamos, Brandon Moreno. Casual fans are only fans of a fighter, not a fan of the sport. Steve Cooley. All caps. Casual fans can be a fan of the sport and maybe not just a fighter. I understand what you're saying, though. Figgy by submission. Just watch. Go win Moreno. I'll never pay for a UFC event ever again. Let's see what we got here. Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Why am I singing the ABC Sports theme song all of a sudden? They don't have the yellow jackets on tonight. The reigning, defending UFC flyweight champion of the world, Deiveson Figueiredo. Ben Askren sleeps them both. How about Francis against both in a handicap match? Wouldn't that be great? Henry Cejudo, this is special. This is history. The quadrilogy is upon us. LFG, that from Triple C. And he's not there tonight like he was last time, guiding Deiveson Figueiredo to victory. Figgy by decapitation, says D-Lo. Useless Facts says, let's go, Brandon. You can say that now. I always thought about that. People changing their name from Brandon or Karen. If I'm named Brandon or I'm named Karen right now, I'm changing my damn name. You think Moreno got a chance? Yeah, of course. Moreno's a G. I picked him. Picked him in all my picks on MMA Bet Club. Here they come. The quadrilogy is underway, and we officially have the first one in UFC history. Yes, Moreno has a chance. They're both so quick. Figueiredo loves to cut off that octagon. He comes in right away, looking to push Moreno against the cage. Moreno comes right back out into a takedown, but he's caught in the side in that guillotine choke position of Figueiredo. And Moreno just kind of laying there, letting Figueiredo's arm rest on his chin and his cheek. He's on top of Deiveson, but his head's off to the side and under his left arm. Moreno showing the ref that he's fine. It's Herb Dean, but he is locked in. Whoever said Figgy by submission is going crazy right now, but it doesn't look like Figgy's actively working for a choke right now, but he's got him in that position for the choke. He's got it in, but he's not really cranking it. Moreno trying to pull out. I don't know what's going on here. I mean, he's not doing anything. He's got to try the guillotine here. He's got him in the position for it, but he's not really trying it. He's just trying to slow Moreno down, is what one of the guys is guessing in the booth, but I don't know. This is interesting. Moreno trying to flip and flail his way out of it, not working. Oh, what a roll by Moreno. Somersaults out of it. Nice job. Very good job. Kept his cool, didn't try to fight it, saved his energy. Figueiredo didn't pull too hard for it. And now they're in the middle of the octagon squaring off. Moreno always so quick with that little movement here and here and here and here and here. Figueiredo's more like down here. You know what I'm saying? But it's just fun. I mean, each one of these guys, when you're that familiar with an opponent and you've seen them that many times, think about pro sports where you play a team so many times in your division. If you play that same team in the playoffs after playing them so many times during the year, there's nothing you can show them that's any different than what they've already seen from you, and vice versa. It's just a matter of tweaking it, sharpening the sword, and being and out executing your opponent and out wanting it more. Wanting it more. You're hearing it live, puto. Flying I-21. There you go. Under 3 minutes left in round number one. It's a 5-round fight. They're both, Moreno's wearing green, black, and gold. Figueiredo in the black and gold. Oh, nice exchange there. I mean, no one doing any damage. No one really landing anything, but a really good exchange there. And a nice grappling exchange from both guys early on. They're as high level can be. Looking forward to seeing how this fight progresses. And, you know, oftentimes when you get a fight, a second fight, like Woodley Wonderboy, for example, the fight's nowhere near close to the first one. In fact, their first fight was amazing. Their second fight was no good at all. And so it's you really have to be careful with those. You really have to be careful. Coming up the pipe is Figueiredo with that left foot. Oh, nice combo from Moreno. Snapped his head back with a jab. Followed it with a right. The left looked like it did a little more damage. Figueiredo looking for something. Moreno underhooked some stuff in a takedown. Just missed with a wheelhouse elbow. Moreno loves throwing those elbows like they're a punch. It looks like a punch until it's about halfway there. And the elbows, but it's really good underhooks there. Figueiredo, good vision. I mean, they've seen everything from each other. They're so well trained to face one another. They both had the best camps they've had in terms of resources and ability to bring people in and work with people. And Figgy worked on the submissions a lot with Du Bronx down in Brazil. Moreno did a lot of his work at the PI. Oh, nice elbow from Moreno on the exit. Moreno's throwing those elbows like punches. That's a little bit of a transition in this fight. He loves to keep that. When he's fighting, he's moving like this fast the whole fight with his legs and his arms. That doubles his cardio output. That tires him out faster. Figueiredo, a much slower pace. Moreno snuck a left in over the glove of Figueiredo. The elbow was the chance to win it in round one. You're right, Joel. Moreno takes Figueiredo down now, has him on the ground. Very nice takedown for Brandon. Second of the round. Oh, Figueiredo looking for an ankle lock of some sort here. Uh-oh. He's got Moreno rolling to get out of it. He's got 20 seconds to survive here. Figueiredo has it in there, and he's looking to pull that foot. Oh, man. Yeah, this is high level. Moreno just rolled away from it. He's pulling up that leg and that foot now. Figueiredo is probably going to release that foot. 5 seconds left in the round, and they're going to go to round two. That's tough to score round one. Moreno got the 2 takedowns. So let's see. Yep, 2 out of 3. 1 submission attempt for Figueiredo. No takedowns. 2 out of 3 for Moreno. Control for a minute and 13 seconds. Moreno outstriking Figueiredo 12-7. All of them are significant. Percentages, pretty even too. 12 out of 21 for Moreno. 7 out of 13 for Figueiredo. Pretty much what you'd expect. So Brandon Moreno, I would say, wins round one. Close one. But if you're Deiveson Figueiredo, you're playing the long game. You want to bank rounds. In a fight like this, you have to bank around early. You have to bank around. You got to do whatever you can do to win a round. You're going for a finish. You're going for a win. You're doing whatever you can to take advantage of something that you saw that you think you can exploit in your opponent, right? You saw, your team saw, you worked on it, you drilled it. This is our game plan. We think we can catch him here. We think we can catch him there. But part of that is being patient and not rushing to try to get that finish. But you also have to be very careful not to give away rounds. How many fighters do you see who are slow starters, right? And they give away round one in almost every fight. That's a real weakness for a fighter. That's something that you really have to watch out for. Thank you, Bentavalt Quintaku. Figueiredo likes to control that octagon, though. He wants to be the alpha in there. Moreno is fine roaming around the perimeter. Oh, Moreno's body kick. Figueiredo just caught it and dumped him on his ass. Nice takedown by Deiveson Figueiredo. I mean, he just perfectly timed that kick from Moreno, caught it, and dumped him down. Yeah, Justin Gaethje tweeted, 1-zip Moreno. Yep, 1-zip Moreno, no doubt. 10-9 round one. Smash. Come on, guys. Thank you, Joel. I appreciate that. You do have to be patient. You know, and Figueiredo being patient. But again, you don't want to give away those rounds. And his jiu-jitsu has gotten so much better. You can just see it. It's obvious what he's been working on with Dubronx down there for sure. Nice work from Moreno. Scrambles up to the single leg. And it's interesting. I mean, one thing I see early on in this fight, the pace is fast, and Brandon Moreno's really making Figueiredo work, and he's keeping his cool and his calm, keeping his cardio. So if this is any indication of how this fight's going to go, Figueiredo had issues with cardio in the past, and he didn't in the last fight as much. They're both missing with combinations now. I mean, this is high level. Just watching these guys miss each other is fun. Just watching them throw and miss is fun. But again, they're staying out of range. Too smart to get caught in there. Figueiredo's already showing a little damage. He's taking a couple shots, a couple of lumps on his face. Got a big knot on his forehead. Moreno connects with the right hand. Thing is, it's just so hard to hurt anybody in this weight class. That's what made what Henry did to Dillashaw so amazing. He just, I mean, used those shots for bombs. It's hard to really generate a ton of power at that weight. Moreno throws a right, kind of grazes him. Under 2.5 minutes left. And again, oh, Figueiredo throws a head kick and Moreno dumps him down. Kind of caught it with the hand up here and just threw that leg. And Figueiredo had to scramble to stay on his feet. Oh, Moreno with a single leg, and Figueiredo reverses it. Moreno took a single leg and looked like he was getting a takedown from the side. Figueiredo reversed it. Now Moreno reverses that. Figueiredo's got a guillotine as Moreno dumps him down, and it's tight. It is tight on Brandon Moreno, but it's not under the neck. It is not under the neck of Brandon Moreno. It will squeeze your head and the blood, and you start to see spots, and you start to wonder if you're gonna. Oh man, I mean, it is not fun. It's just because it's not around your neck and you can breathe. But Brandon Moreno frees himself from it now, and now he's in top position. But he's got a long way to go if he's going to pass the guard or get to half guard or anything like that on Figueiredo. About 130 left in round 2. Me too, Flying Heights 21. Me too. It's history. It's legacy and it's history. And those things matter. Those things matter a hell of a lot. Who are you talking about now? Who are you talking about now from the past? Chuck and Tito? Who are you talking about now? You're remembered better by the fans when you have that rival, when you have that dance partner, when you have that guy. Figueiredo's bleeding from the corner of his left eye. Moreno loves to just rub his head on the face. He's literally rubbing his head and his hair. He's got that shaved side against the face and the forehead of Figueiredo. I mean, that's not going to win a fight, but it's not fun. It's not comfortable. I can promise you that. Oh, Moreno just missed with a good night elbow. 12-6er. Side of the dome. Just missed. Figueiredo's quick. I mean, these guys are getting out of the way at the last minute. Someone's going to get caught in this fight. I've had a sneaking suspicion all along that someone will get caught here. Moreno in top position with 30 seconds left. I don't know about this round. I mean, he's outstriking him 26-17, 26-14, significant. 3:23 of ground control time and counting. 3 takedowns. It's going to be 2-0 Brandon. You can see the wrestling work that Figueiredo did in Arizona with Henry Cejudo and those guys really paid off in the last fight. And it's not working in this fight. Moreno looks like the stronger fighter on the ground. Nice elbow at the end of the round 2 by Brandon. Very interesting fight so far. These guys are high level playing chess in there. Back and forth and back. Figueiredo looking tired in that corner too. Who do I think is going to win? I think it looks so far like Moreno's looking good. Figueiredo's wearing down. He's breathing heavy in the corner. He hasn't looked good in the wrestling exchanges or grappling as good as Moreno. He's got some lumps on the face. He's got some blood. But again, I mean, it's the end of round 2, and he's fine. But so far, Moreno. Wow.
Has the
4:45 left in round number 3.
Okay, you got to let me know when it starts.
Brian Ortega says, "What a fight." Yeah, it's a good fight. Joel says, yeah, Moreno made the best coaching move, not out of choice, to go with Fortis. Fortis is legit. Yeah, it's 2-0 Moreno. And they look good, man. They look athletic in there. They look good in there. They look really good. 30th anniversary of the UFC. You guys believe that? The 25th anniversary seems like yesterday. What a summer that was. That was a good one. Nice underhooks from Moreno to stop the takedown. He just gets lower. I mean, it's the old football coach thing, right? Whoever gets lower wins, and that happens a lot of times in the octagon. Moreno by KO, says Sancho. Moreno grazed him with a left. 340 and counting in round 3. Figueiredo still, I mean, loose and quick on his feet. Oh, Moreno just popped him. Moreno just popped him. Figueiredo like waving to call for time, and I don't know if Herb didn't see an eye poke or Figueiredo was saying it's an eye poke. And it was a punch, it looked like, but we got to see a replay of that. But he's on his back now. He was going like this and waving to try to get a timeout, and he got taken down. And now he's got Brandon Moreno on top of him with 3:10 and counting left in the round. Yep, that's the fourth. He's got 4 minutes and 6 seconds of control. I don't know if they're going to score that a takedown. Probably not. Figueiredo took a punch, but it seemed like a scrape at the end, is what they're saying on the commentary. They haven't shown a replay yet, guys. Thank you, D-Lo. Appreciate you, too. Appreciate all you guys being here. The numbers usually get pretty big on these shows that we do, and we really enjoy doing them. So we appreciate you guys. Please smash that subscribe, like button, the bell. Follow us on other social media platforms. Moreno's on top of Figueiredo. Of course, not passing the guard. He's not trying to pass the guard. He's just softening him up with some body blows here. But Figueiredo has got the legs around the back of Moreno, pulling his head down, of course, using his leg for leverage. But now Moreno postures up and lands a couple elbows. Blood pouring out of the left eye of Figueiredo. And Brandon Moreno postures up and then comes right back down. And then he almost got an elbow for his troubles from the bottom from Figueiredo. There's not a channel broadcasting in UFC. Only the ref can call timeout. Yep, you're right. Thank you, William. Appreciate the subscription. Ding, ding, ding. Really appreciate that. Figueiredo's bleeding. His eyes are getting swollen, especially his left one. Moreno just kind of tapping him with a couple of these. And yeah, it's not looking good for Figs right now. I mean, when I saw they didn't go to fight ready, I was like, man, why not, dude? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You look better in that fight than the other two put together. Why did you not go back? I mean, it is what it is. You know, it's not for me to second guess a fighter and their strategy, whether it's a camp or a fight strategy. It's not for me to do. But as an observation, I have to wonder why. I have to wonder. I'm not going to tell him it was a bad move. It doesn't look like it was a good move. But sometimes, you know, fighters get cute, get fancy. They want to move around. They want to work with all these different people all the time. And I'm all for that. Traveling around, going to gyms and getting some rounds in with different people, getting workouts in with different coaches. Yeah, that's great. But to do that and I mean, you have to understand that at some point there's a chance you're going to do it too much. You're going to overdo it. And if something is, you know, working right, I don't know why you change it. Thank you, Apollonio. Flying High 21, yeah. Oh, BNG 951TO. Glover or Hill, man. Hill's got that knockout puncher's chance, and he's a freak of an athlete, cardio all day, but Glover, man, that's a tough one. The submission game, the wrestling of Glover. I mean, Hill hasn't been able to stop much wrestling, and Glover Teixeira is a relentless beast. On the other hand, Yuri Prohashka didn't really land much against Glover, and we thought he was going to take his head off, and he didn't. He wasn't able to put him away. It's interesting, you know. Brandon Moreno, oh, I see. The punch landed here on the side, and then the glove scraped the eye. It was not an eye poke. Knuckle. He hit him with his thumb knuckle. It's like a hook, but instead of going like this with a hook, he hit him like that. Like this. Like boom, boom, right there with that knuckle. And then he scraped it, and the eye got raked. But this be part of fighting, man. You got to deal with it, bro. You're going to have times in there when you can't see. A lot of times when you can't see. The sweat gets in your eyes, the blood. I can't tell you how many fighters have told me they've been blinded during a fight without being hit in the eye. Yeah, no, imagine you're hit in the eye. You're scraped in the eye. The eye of Figueiredo, he's got a cut on the bridge of the nose, and he's got a big one right under here, a really big one. Now, if you're going to be cut around the eye, that's a good place for you to be cut around the eye as long as it doesn't swell all the way shut because it's not dripping down into your eye, obviously, right? Old man power. But it's not dripping down into your eye. That's Glover's old man power. And I'll take that at 51. You got to root for the old guys. I told Glover that at Fight Week over the summer when I interviewed him and met. I talked to Glover for a long time, and I was like, bro, on behalf of old guys like me everywhere, keep winning because we love it. And I don't know what the hell his fountain of youth consists of, but Unbelievable. And I love Glover. He's a great dude. He trains in Connecticut now, my home state. Alex Pereira's up there with him. You're going to tell me that he's going to sweat Jamal Hill as a striker when he's been throwing with Alex Pereira every day? I mean, come on, right? I mean, yeah, there's one guy in the world who's beaten Israel Adesanya 3 times, and it's him. 2 guys in the world who have beaten him total. Blachowicz is the other one. No way. They're stopping the fight. They stopped the fight for Figueiredo's eye. What in the world? 2 finishes in the series for Brandon Moreno. Brandon was fighting a great fight. I mean, a beautiful fight. It looked like he was going to win anyway, but you can't end a quadrilogy on. Wait, what is going on here? Wait a minute. What in the blue hell? It's a final by TKO in round 3. Yikes. Wow. I mean, he was dominating. Brandon Moreno was dominating this fight. That punch that landed, it hit him on the side. It scraped the front of his eye. Then Figueiredo was like trying to get time out, saying he got eye poke, but it wasn't an eye poke. It was a scrape. And then he just got, dumped down after that. And it just was not a good, and he in his eyes bleeding. Yeah, it landed perfectly. That thumb hit him on the side, and he hit him again with another left toward the end of that round. Brandon hit him with a bunch of lefts, and Brandon's left. He's got that left. Every Mexican fighter has that left hook, and he landed it a bunch of times. Moreno doing a dance in there. The knuckle, it is legal. It's not an eye poke. Came close with the fingers, but it isn't what caused the damage, is what they're saying. The doctor had no choice but to make the decision he did. It goes into the books as the 7th between round stoppage in UFC championship history. Moreno by knuckle. There you go, Scott. Moreno by knuckle. Go figure. The quadrilogy ends with a doctor stoppage in between rounds. And I'm sorry, but I mean, I don't know. Figueiredo's grown up a lot as a fighter in this series too, and I know it's a horrible way for that to end, but why did you not go back to fight ready, bro? Why? I mean, it is what it is now. Moreno, the assassin baby, the victor in this trilogy. He's been the favorite in the last 3 fights. Last one was a close one that some people thought he won, even though Figueiredo won the decision. They shake hands, they hug. I think it's kind of setting in now, each realizing how important the other one is to the other's career and the history they've made together. And to see it end like that, man, I mean, look, it's a doctor stoppage. It's from a cut. It's from punishment that was inflicted during the fight. So it's easier to live with, right? Knowing it was between rounds. But you always want to see that stoppage come. You always want to see that stoppage come, during a round. You always want to see it happen while the clock's moving and ticking. But, man, that's how would Figueiredo win that by DQ? MW2 Informer. What are you talking about? I want you to expand on that. They should have won at least one more round. I think that they would have gone the distance. Moreno has a couple marks on him too. But man, Figueiredo, you know what? I mean, it's just, and without James Krause, I wonder how they handle that in the interview, if they told DC not to ask about it. Usually they don't. But Moreno was cruising. And Moreno was dominating the fight. It was 3-10, 9 rounds. It really was. I mean, he was hitting kicks to the ribs. He was hitting leg kicks, elbows, punches, takedowns. What up, Sean from Dallas? Hello from the end. Okay. Nobody likes doctor stoppages. Nope. That's right. Scott threw that up just as I was looking at it. Good minds think alike. Figgy should lose by DQ with the kick. Eh? Figgy got beat. There it is. He got beat. Brandon is great. I don't see anybody in this division beating him. Kelvin Gastelum. Yep, good tweet there. And here's DC, a 2-time flyweight champion of the world. Brandon Moreno, the assassin baby. And he does it in Brazil, in the backyard of Deiveson Figueiredo. He trained in Brazil the whole time. I don't know why he didn't come back. I'm going to be getting on his case for not coming back to fight ready. Figgy took a thumb to the eye. Not fair. That's not a thumb. It's a punch. He got hit with a punch. Got hit with a punch. And now DC's got to interview Figueiredo. That's a tough one for both guys. I respect Figueiredo for how much he's grown as a mixed martial artist and as a person in this series, in this quadrilogy. Yeah, Moreno won, Christopher. Brandon stuck out his thumb. I mean, he's got his eye closed. He's speaking Portuguese. Let's see. Let's see what Deiveson says here. I mean, he's got a lot of spirit and a lot of heart, and he's a good fighter, man. Someone beats Moreno, Figueiredo will take that belt in the blink of an eye. And we might see a fifth one, man. We might see a fifth one. All right, Johnny Gucci, I love it. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. We love New York City. That's my spot. I grew up in Connecticut. I'm in New York a lot. DC will ask him anyway. Maybe he will. Maybe he will. DC is one of those guys that he can do these things a little easier than the annex of the world can. What about Glover? What about him? He's fighting next. Main event time, baby. He says he's leaving the division. I have done a lot. Congratulations to Brandon, but I'm moving up. There you go. Figueiredo's going to 35. An already crowded 35 division. What about the cut? You protested immediately, but it looked like the punch was legal. Did you think it was an illegal shot? Speaking Portuguese. They're showing it again, guys. I mean, he came from the side like this, and instead of turning like you do with a hook, he went like that, and his thumb did hit him, and then he kind of raked, the glove raked. He didn't rake it himself. It just raked across the face. I don't think it was a dirty shot. I don't think it was anything malicious from Moreno at all, although it is weird to not turn your hook like that. I mean, that's the easiest way in the world to break your thumb. You want to talk about having a broken thumb, and that shit sucks. I've done that a few times, breaking my thumb or spraining it really bad. Figgy and Moreno should have been main event. No way. I love what you bring to the table, Joel, but I think that the big boys are always the main event. The bigger the fighters, it's the main event. And bigger, I mean size. Glover and Jamal Hill. Sweet dreams. Like, subscribe. There you go. Queens, New York. Queens, New York. Let's go. Stoppage by damage to eye due to a punch, not an eye poke. Thank you, The Rise. We got that. What is Joel saying with the Fs? What does that mean, buddy? This is a while, Scott, till we get to Glover and Jamal Hill, because Figueiredo won't get out of the octagon. There he goes. And he's waving to the fans in Brazil, and he should get the applause. He is a champion. I really, you know what? I don't want to rip this guy anymore. I mean, he had his moments along the way, but I really, and for Moreno, they are legitimately hugging him out of the arena as the fans throw stuff at him. The security guys are literally surrounding him and hugging him, and it looks like he comes out from underneath them. They literally turtle shelled him, running him back as they threw shit at him. In Brazil, these fans don't play. They chant death to you. When Ryan Bader fought Glover in Belo Horizonte, I remember I was doing a show with him at the time. And I remember Bader and I were doing a radio show together for a couple of years, and he went down there. And he's like, they were chanting for me to die, bro. That's what they do down there. And they were just literally throwing everything they could get their hands on at Brandon Moreno. But Moreno was winning the fight. I mean, 3 rounds to none. Figueiredo would have had to finish him to get a win. And I didn't see anything from Figueiredo in this fight really offensively. I didn't see him doing anything. You know, I don't know, man. It's just Brandon Moreno's so good. He's so good. And Figueiredo was great that last fight. I would love to hear what Henry and those guys are saying right now. I would love to hear it, because I really feel like that would have made a difference in this fight for Figgy. And, you know, to lose a quadrilogy like that. And he was getting worked. He was getting dominated. But, I mean, the interesting, like, Moreno loses James Krause. He ends up at Fortis with Said. I'm telling you, it just, coaching is important. I know that. And I love my coach friends. I do. Most of them have been fighters. Coaching is tremendously important, especially day in and day out. But changing coaches early in a camp, when you have the game plan in place, changing your head coach, when you already have coaches and you already have your game plan, you already know exactly what you're going to do every moment of every day. And then you let the new guy have a little bit of his input, and you change maybe some things a little bit, but you know what you're going to do. You're a great athlete. You've been doing it a long time. You've been a champion. most of the time you can win with that new coach. Dean Smith left North Carolina. They didn't miss much when Bill Guthridge took over, right? Pat Riley and Phil Jackson have never won a championship with below average players or even above average players, but they've won them with great players. You know what I mean? Trainers, a different story, like when Mike Tyson lost Kevin Rooney, or when Customato died. Someone who trains you and works with you every day, that's different. Krause didn't do that with Moreno. Krause was brought in for the last fight as a head coach to put everything together. That's what I mean. I'm not saying you just lose the guy you're working with day in and day out every single day your whole career and you're the same. No. But you lose a guy who you hired to bring in and put it all together for you, and you do it with enough time left in the camp. If you're Brandon Moreno, you're fine. Obviously, he looked great tonight. He looked phenomenal. And I know Krause is proud of him. Meanwhile, Glover and Jamal Hill, Teixeira plus 140, plus 215 to win by submission. 40 plus significant strikes for Jamal Hill is plus 100. Jamal Hill is the favorite at minus 135. Glover plus 110 in this fight. Oh, wow. So the guys on the pay-per-view are saying they're told that Moreno was up 2-1. All three judges gave Figueiredo round 2. And DC and Felder are incredulous, as am I. How would you ever? That's home cooking. That's why you got to finish fight. You don't want to go to the judges in Brazil against a Brazilian fighter, man. Whoever gave Figueiredo that round, I mean, that was a reach. That was a reach, to say the least. And how about the light heavyweight division and the heavyweight division? Hey, Scott, you've been around the UFC for a long time, man. Do you ever remember the light heavyweight and heavyweight belts being vacant at the same time? This is crazy.
Yeah, I don't. I don't know if I can recall.
Both are vacant. I mean, what a shit show Glover and Ankalaev was. I mean, just for Dana to come running into the media room right after and be like, nope, Jamal Hill and Glover, next pay-per-view. He did not, nobody liked that fight. And those guys did not take advantage of their opportunity at all. But, to see that belt vacant and to see Jamal Hill get the shot was surprising to me because he's ranked 7. He's ranked 7, and Glover's ranked 2 behind Yuri. Of course, Yuri's 1, but Yuri's got the shoulder. He's going to be out probably a year. But, man, Jamal Hill, a couple of fights after Jamal Hill he just keeps getting better. Jamal Hill just keeps getting better, guys. And, at number 7, do I think he deserves a title shot? No, but when you look at the rankings, and just by virtue of being number 7 and the number wins, but he has gotten 3 TKOs in a row. And when I think about Jamal Hill, the athleticism is there, the power's there. And remember what Rumble did to Glover. In the middle of the summer, was it 2019? He knocked his tooth across the octagon. Whatever year that was, what year was this? Glover's 43. He's been fighting for so long. And all those years when Glover, how many times did you guys hear about Glover as real MMA fans? For years, he couldn't get over here from Brazil to compete. Remember all that crap that he went through? And in 2014, he's in Washington, D.C., helping advocate for the sport. It's interesting how things come full circle. But Glover Teixeira, when he lost to Corey Anderson on July 18th of 2022, on July 22nd of 2018, I thought it was over for him. The Rumble fight against Glover was at UFC 202. UFC 202 in August of 2016. It was on the Conor Diaz 2 fight card. And that's right. And Rumble knocked his tooth across the octagon. 13 seconds of round number 1 with one shot. One big shot, and Glover literally almost died in there. It seemed like it, right? So Rumble, after Glover had won 3 in a row against OSP, Pat Cummins, and Rashad Evans, following back-to-back losses to John Jones and Phil Davis. Let's not forget Glover in the UFC, right? He lost a couple of fights. He lost to Ed Herman at SF9 and Eric Schwartz at WEC3. These are way back in the early 2000s. Glover Teixeira finally was able to come over to the U.S. and fight in the UFC for Kyle Kingsbury at UFC 146 in May of 2012. My son's 10th birthday, right? And then he beats Kingsbury, Maldonado, Rampage, Tehuna, and Ryan Bader. TKO's Bader. Gets the title shot against Jones. Bader would have had it because I remember I was working with him at the time. He loses to Jones, unanimous decision. Loses to Phil Davis, unanimous decision. Then he beat OSP, Cummins, and Rashad. And Rumble knocks his tooth across the octagon. And then he beats Jared Cannonier, unanimous decision at light heavyweight. Remember, Killer Gorilla's down at middleweight now. He loses by KO to Alexander Gustafsson in Sweden, fight of the night. He beats Serkinov, and then he loses to Corey Anderson, had lost 3 of his 5. And everyone thinks Glover's never going to be a title contender. He's way up there in years. And all of a sudden, Glover just goes on a massive win streak from January of 2019 through October of 2021. This dude just ripped off 6 wins in a row. Roberson, Kutulava, Krylov, Smith, Santos, and Błachowicz, a former champ and 2 former #1 title contenders. Right there, just ripped him off. Bang, TKO submission. He dominated Błachowicz in the title fight. He was beating Yuri Prochazka. He was a big dog in that fight. People thought Glover had no chance against the punching and the knockout acumen of Yuri Prochazka. Glover had that fight won. He got exhausted in the end and got submitted by a striker. Give credit to Yuri. He's got the damaged shoulder now. Glover feels like this is his time. Everyone thinks like this is a coronation for him to win the title in Brazil. Would he win it and then retire? Who the hell knows? But he's got to beat Jamahal Hill. And Jamahal Hill this week said, hey, I want to fight Yuri next. Well, you need to win this one first, bro. And Jamahal Hill is really walking slowly. I don't know if this is his confident look or not. I mean, it's Brazil. He's so far away from home, man. Jamahal Hill making the walk to the octagon. This dude, I mean, to go on the road as an individual athlete in a sport like this into an environment like that. It's one thing to fight a guy in Boston if he fights out of New England. It's one thing to fight a guy in Dallas if he lives there, or Phoenix or LA, and you got the home crowd. It is another thing completely to go, and not all the way across the world, but down into South America, into Brazil, and deal with that kind of fight fan. And they all want you dead. They want you dead. They don't just want you to lose. They want you to die in there. And if you don't, some of them might try to kill you on your way out. You saw Moreno getting stuff thrown at him. So this is cool. I mean, Jamahal Hill started his career in 2017, started 5-0. I mean, he's only a blue belt in jiu-jitsu. I mean, just his loss to Paul Craig by TKO was in June of 2021, but he had won. He was undefeated until they had a no contest. But his win over OSP by TKO in December of 2020, you're like, this dude's the next knockout artist in the UFC. Paul Craig in round 1 got him in Arizona. But since then, Jimmy, Johnny, and Tiago. Yep. Crute, Walker, and Santos gone. Johnny Walker, just that knockout, he got decapitated by Jamahal Hill. And look how good Johnny Walker looks now. 2 in a row against Kutulava and Paul Craig. Thiago Santos, the TKO punches and elbows in August in Vegas on the Santos versus Hill card, main event. Jamahal Hill got it done. He's getting ready to enter the octagon right now. I mean, he's only 11-1. He's one of those guys that got fast-tracked. And when you have that kind of power and that kind of athleticism, usually in a weight class without a ton of people, you get fast-tracked. But he's got the second longest UFC active knockout streak with 3. He's got the most knockouts since 2022 in light heavyweight with 4. And he's got the biggest significant strike differential among active UFC light heavyweights, plus 2.4 per minute. What he doesn't have is great wrestling or submission game, and he doesn't have the best takedown defense, although it's getting better every single fight. He's got 7 wins by knockout, 4 by decision, and his 1 loss was by knockout to Paul Craig, the submission artist. But this dude, I mean, he's got 6 kids between the ages of 2 and 14. He was supposed to fight Anthony Smith in March of this year, but got bumped up to this one when the whole thing happened on that last fight card when Błachowicz and Ankalaev got bumped up to the main event. It was supposed to be Glover and Yuri, the rematch. Yuri got hurt, couldn't do it. Glover didn't want to fight on short notice against Ankalaev. So instead, took his chances, and it probably would have been Błachowicz or Ankalaev maybe in a couple months for Glover. But since the belt was vacant, it was a draw. Dana saw an opportunity to make Glover Teixeira the main event in Brazil, and he did it. And, I mean, those types of quick decisions on the fly, that's what makes a company successful when they work. But you can't sit back and wait. Good example, guys, in life. Something comes your way, you get the opportunity to do something you really want to do, you're going to do it. And, oh, baby, the roof is going to get blown off this place for Glover Teixeira. Hill is looking pudgy, but definitely determined. Khalil Green. Hill is fearless. I mean, think of the nerves you have to have. Think Ankalaev thinking about quitting. I mean, he's talked about it, but that guy's too good, man. He just had a shitty fight. I don't see Glover folding on Jamal. Grand Rapids all the way to Brazil. Dale Martinez. You know what? And there comes Glover Teixeira. I mean, I think of the old days when I see shit like this. One of the reasons I love this sport so much, guys and girls, I mean, think about it, right? Glover's making the slow walk. He's going through the bowels of the arena, but he's up on the screens and the fans can see him. And as he walks around the corner and then another corner, and you see him getting closer to the arena, the fans get louder and louder until he comes out of the tunnel and into the building, and the roof blows off the place. It reminds me of the old school gladiators in the Colosseums, right? If you were a warrior from another country and they said, we're not going to have a war, our guy's going to fight your guy in your place. Would Glover Teixeira not be that guy for Brazil right now? I think he would be. I think he would be. I really do, because Anderson's gone and he's too old. Aldo's too old, too small. I like Glover. Glover and Gilbert Burns. How about that? Glover and Gilbert Burns. You put them there. But Glover coming out and, I mean, going to do battle with Jamahal. Imagine the nerve you have to have. Imagine the guts. Imagine the lack of fear. Imagine the poise. Imagine all the things you have to have if you're Jamahal. You're so far away from home. You're on another continent, surrounded by thousands and thousands and thousands of people who want to see you get killed in there, facing a former champion who is one of the greatest mixed martial artists of our lifetime in Glover Teixeira. If Glover had been over here sooner, he might have been a UFC champion. Now, how about Prime Jones and Prime Glover? I mean, that would have been pretty close back then. And Glover had just gotten over here in 2012, but he went up the ranks fast. Flying High 21, Glover TKO round 1. The MW2 Informer, USA. Hill FTW. Glover looking like this is his. You know what? I never look too much at what guys look like as they're on their way in. Glover's got a little mini roll around the waist at 43. Joey Vegas says Glover will show his age tonight. Remember, I told you, as I just showed mine by yawning. Kerry Lake won AZ governor election. Oh boy. Joseph M. Here I am. Oh, Jamal Hill. The death stare across at Glover. Ignoring the crowd to stay for. This is what you do when you're an athlete. You train your mind as much as you train your body, because in situations like this, in situations like I mentioned earlier, where you can't see during a fight, in so many times before that they don't bother you when they happen in a real fight in real time. You have to train so many times and seen every punch, every kick, every takedown attempt, thousands and thousands and thousands of times, as Glover has. Jamal Hill just doesn't have those reps. But I really like this matchup for Glover because he's so good on the ground. His takedowns are phenomenal. Jamal Hill, his takedown offense is okay. It's about to start in about 30 seconds, maybe 40. Buffer is, nope, he's in. Oh, Goddard's the ref over Herb. Goddard's become like the go-to ref now in these main events with Big John gone. Herb had it for a while, but I think Goddard's been more of that guy. I like Mark. Mark's a good dude. I've known him a long time. Jamal Hill. You know Jamal Hill's line of thinking and what he's looking to do in this fight. I got in a fight with a kid one time in high school, and he turns his hat around and he goes, your head's about to get flown. That's what Jamal Hill's about to do to Glover Teixeira. In a perfect world, in Jamal Hill's mind, right? Again, he's not a big favorite, but he's the favorite in this fight. And if you wanted Jamal Hill by KO or TKO, there was a little bit of money there on a parlay. Live from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The first time he said that in almost 4 years. It's time. And everybody I know in the fight game tells me it's a special thing when you go to Brazil. It's a special trip. They love fighting so much down there. They love their jiu-jitsu and their martial arts so much. Their shoot boxing. Unbelievable. Bad chest tat. Well, no, I don't have a tattoo, actually. They photoshopped Glover's ads in the promo. You guys are brutal. Brutal. The more I look at Jamal Hill at 6'4", 204.5, he looks a little nervous, but this dude with one shot can end your world. And I've been thinking he's going to do it. So as I get closer to this fight, and as I keep thinking Glover can take him down, and as I keep thinking Glover can beat him in the clinch on the fence, and Glover's strong, and Glover has cardio now, but that was against Yuri. Sweet dreams. Jamahal Hill has the ability to turn out the lights on anyone, anytime in a fight. No matter where you are, you know you have that ability. That's a big weapon as a fighter. Glover's 33-8, man. The plus 120 underdog. 5-4 as a UFC dog. Glover Teixeira. Does that even up tonight? He's in good shape, minus that little bit around the waist. And you know what, man? When you're, you know what I mean. When you're over 40, might happen a little bit. Glover is passing the torch tonight. He will retire. Hill will sleep him. All right, guys, what do you think? Let's go. Build those numbers up. Let's go. Smash that subscribe button. Hit that like and that bell. We are just about underway. Goddard's in the center of the octagon. Glover and Jamahal Hill walking over. Jamahal Hill's got a mad height advantage, like 3-4 inches. Glover's thicker. You know, the legs and the takedowns, you get him on the ground. Obviously, it's a difference. A reach advantage for Jamahal Hill. Look, it's no secret. You're going to want to keep Glover at range. He's so smart. He's seen everything. He's been training for his whole entire life. So many more hours than Jamahal Hill. But he's 43. He's a little slower. He's a little older. Who knows if fighting in Brazil like this will get to him? I highly, highly doubt it. But you never know. Trent's got 100 on Glover. Who's winning? Moneyline chat. Here they go. Started, Scott. Hit the clock. Justin Gaethje. Jamahal Hill, Glover, my second favorite fighter. Glover right away comes in on that single leg, and Jamahal Hill trying to fight it off. Can't get the underhooks, though. Glover's got him around the chest. This could be a short, boring fight. Glover Teixeira is going to want to take him down. But Jamahal Hill, throws a knee up the middle. Another one. He so far defends takedown number 1 from Glover Teixeira. Good job by Hill. And he hit him with 2 knees on the way out. These are big dudes with a lot of power. Anything can happen in here now. Glover Teixeira went for that takedown right away, and I was surprised how easily he got that leg. But again, he's sneaky fast on those takedowns. And Hill throws a punch. Glover goes right down for the takedowns. See, the right hand of Jamahal Hill is such a weapon that Glover's immediately going to be looking for it. He's going to slip it, and as soon as he slips it to his right, he's coming right down into a takedown. And Hill's planting so heavy on that lead leg to get the power, it's there. So Jamahal Hill is not going to be able to throw those full power punches and not get taken down from what I can see so far. There's my instant analysis, guys, in the chat here on MMA Weekly. Smash that subscribe button, the like. Jim Grease, at Jim Grease _ Cage Side Grease on social media. Glover's going to go down too many times. I like the knees and the kicks from Hill to defend the takedowns. If you don't have great wrestling, you're going to want to defend those takedowns however you can. And Glover's got power too. And he can knock Jamahal Hill out any time in this fight. Make no mistake about it. But Jamahal Hill's got devastating power, and he's got that length, but he's not using it. Glover in on the leg again. Nice takedown defense from Jamahal Hill. He's staying in that secondary range. I'm surprised he's not out further like we've seen Cyril Gane do multiple times in his fight. Stay a half a body length away and don't get in there in the phone booth. Nice kick to the body by Jamahal Hill with the left foot. Into the right oblique area of Glover, and a nice right hand counter from Hill. That one didn't have, and he tags Glover across the nose with another big right. Glover cannot do anything with the takedown so far. And Jamahal Hill's finding range. That left lands the jab. He's finding the range with the jab. Very smart parries out there. Jamahal Hill fighting a good fight so far. An uppercut, and then a 1-2 combo, and another right from Hill. He's landing a lot of shots on Teixeira early. A lot of shots. Glover not hurt by any means, but Hill has been landing 220 and counting. Man, this is a good start for Jamahal Hill. Stuffing the takedowns. But again, you still have 2 minutes left in the round, and you don't want to get taken down here because you can lose a round that you were winning real fast or get finished real fast against this dude. You got 2:05 left in the round. Glover does look slow, blinding shadow. Very slow. Jamahal Hill looks poised, I'll tell you that. Hell of a lot more poised than I would be. These athletes are amazing. Jamahal Hill, very smart to keep using the jab. Don't throw that right and give him that lead leg. He'll tenderize it with kicks. He'll shoot for takedowns all night. Glover's smart, though, being very pragmatic now, coming forward with the jab, turning it into more of a boxing match. He's always going to be looking for the takedown, trying to punch into it, but Glover going to stand and trade with him now. Jamahal Hill just kind of laughing, weaving and bobbing his way out. Nice uppercut from Hill. Man, Glover does not have the defense to stop Jamahal Hill from striking him. Jamal Hill maybe got a little bit of an eye poke there. Goddard calls time. Marathon, not a sprint, McDeasy. What's wrong, Plo Koon? All right, they're back at it. 1:15 remaining. Jamal Hill, so long, man. That can be a disadvantage with the takedowns, but he's using, look at him. They're just working with that jab, getting the feel. Get the feel. Glover in, shoots fast and hard on a single leg. Oh, up on one leg, hopping. Jamal Hill sneaks away. And you know what? You move on in this fight, and the fighters get more slippery. It becomes harder to take a fighter down. And Jamal Hill could end up with that belt around his waist if Glover makes one mistake in this fight. It's all it takes with him. Oh, and a nice combo. A 3-1-2 from Jamal Hill. Nose is bleeding a little bit on Teixeira. He's not hurt. Again, strikes to just 10 that he's delivered. Jamal Hill with a great start to the light heavyweight championship title fight in Brazil. Couldn't be going any better for him unless he had a first-round knockout. Jamal Hill landing punches. Oh, a big right toward the end of the round. 5 seconds left. Hill with another one. 2, 1. Oh, a nice exchange at the end of that round. Neither guy's hurt, but Jamal Hill won round 1. Glover's bleeding. He's breathing a little heavy. He's bleeding. 38 strikes, 37 significant for Jamal Hill, 13 and 12 for Glover. And here's the most important stat of that round, okay? Because Hill landed his punches, and you know if it's a boxing match, it's Jamal Hill. Glover Teixeira takedown attempts, 7. Glover Teixeira takedowns landed, 0. That's why Jamal Hill's up 1 round to none. And anybody give Glover that round, you're insane. The judges can't give him that. But Teixeira did hit him with a couple of good shots in that round, but Jamal Hill landed way more. I mean, a couple of nice knees up the middle when Glover tried those takedowns, a couple of body kicks that got through. And Glover landed a nice left toward the end. Man, he's accurate. He's just not as fast as Hill. But he landed a couple shots that were cleaner than I thought they were and harder than I thought they were in live, when you watch them live. So here they come. Round 2, see what Glover does adjustment-wise. He came right out looking for that takedown off the lead leg of Hill when Hill threw the right. Now Hill's been sitting outside picking him apart with the jab and throwing the right without stepping forward with it. He's got enough snap on it to score with it. Now, is he going to hurt Glover and wear him out that way? Does he eventually have to throw a power shot? Yes. But Glover is going to want to, like you do with every power puncher, take out that lead leg. Take out that lead leg, man. And a great round for Jamal Hill. Yep, 10-9 after the first. I think pretty much everybody agrees. Glover's so tough, and he comes right at you, though, man. Like, Glover's got something with his eye now? Huh. Looks like a little bit of an eye poke here. The kick, he did. He went to push him away like this, and he kept it open instead of like that. I mean, you see it so many times with these gloves. At some point, they'll do something. I mean, it's really hard. So you're at 30 seconds, 31 on the timeout. 4:10 left in the round, Scott. Round 2. Hill staying at distance. Secondary striking distance is so important, especially for the longer fighters like Jamal Hill. With those, Glover just missed with a head kick. That's why